we pause in your presence to thank you for the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We thank you for our military. We thank you for law enforcement. We thank you for our firefighters. We thank you for our EMTs. We thank you for those who protect our president, the Secret Service. We thank you for the chaplains that serve around this country faithfully. And now we ask you, as we always do, for a safe race, for a great race. We pray in Christ's name, amen. Shalom.
And here to perform today's national anthem, please welcome the combined choir of Calvary Baptist Church from Dover, Delaware.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the guns bursting in air, and through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the
And Jeff Gordon, a pretty good guy to get some advice from at this racetrack, a 5-time winner here at the Monster Mile.
It was a beautiful day, the sun beat down, I had the radio on, I was driving, trees flew by, me and Del were singing, Little Runaway, I was flying, yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me, working on a mystery. Go wherever it leads, running down a dream. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Running down a dream.
The NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 from Dover International Speedway. 400 miles around the Monster Mile. For today's storylines, let's go trackside. Kelly Stavist.
Martin Truex Jr. looking for a little bit of redemption after feeling like he coulda, woulda, shoulda won any one of the last 3 races, but he's going to have to do it with a bit of an unknown. A lot of big changes made to this car overnight, and Cole Pearn told me they won't know what they've got till lap 1, turn 1, Dave.
Kelly, in the last 6 races, no driver has an average running position better than Kyle Larson, 6.4. But today, he needs to make his finishing position 1.0, Marty.
Kyle Busch comes in with a lot of wins and a lot of bonus points, Dave, but you heard him in the pre-race show. A lot of concern. They weren't very good yesterday, leading Adam Stevens to make wholesale changes, the most changes he's ever made in his career, he told me, before a race. Let's see if that helps Kyle Busch today. Let's get round 12 underway.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Executive Vice President of Corporate Development, Camping World Holdings Incorporated, Tamara Ward.
On behalf of Camping World and Gander Outdoors, race fans, let's do this together. Drivers, start your engines!
Ready. Okay, I'll send you fire up whenever you're ready. I'll be here all day.
The cars have come to life, and as Junior mentioned, they're going to have to be durable today for 400 laps here at the Monster Mile. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Gander Outdoors. Warehouse pricing on everything outdoors, including RVs. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, every driver wants the recipe on how to win a championship. We can look to the past champions for a few of the ingredients.
Everybody talks about wanting to be a champion and be the champion. But what does that take?
You have to be in it every lap, every moment of the year.
When we start talking about championships, it really comes down to the team.
We had to basically give up everything else in life, and the car was everything, and that's all we could focus on.
It's so much more difficult than you think.
Keselowski, Larson, both into the wall.
Everything just comes together for some people, it don't come together for others.
Martin Truex Jr. gets hit by Johnson. They are both spun out.
You literally have to put everything that you have into it.
That was awesome.
It's extreme focus. It was like I treated every race like it was the last race.
3 in a row. It's a chink, baby. Hell yeah.
How we put so much on the line and how we gave up everything to win.
The sacrifices that you have to make are the most difficult, but in the end, it's the most rewarding.
You have this passion, you have this desire. When you see that, you're like, I want to be that.
To me, it was everything.
Everybody that competes at a professional level is really, really good at what they do. The ones that become champions figure out a way to take it a notch higher.
12 drivers, 3 races in this round to determine who will advance into the third round. You've got to make every race count. Let's take a look at the starting grid, brought to you by Gander Outdoors. Now, the grid has been set by the rule book because qualifying was rained out, so that means the top 12, all playoff drivers, will start together. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick making up row 1. Then it's Martin Truex Jr. and Brad Keselowski in row 2.
Clint Boyer, who was second here in May with Joey Logano. Last top 5 at Dover was in 2014. Then Kurt Busch, our winner in 2011, and then Ryan Blaney, last week's winner.
Back in row 5, a couple young drivers. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, hungry for a championship. Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman will make up row 6. And now let's dial up Eric Almirola. Jeff Burton, I believe you got him on the radio.
That's 3 mark. He's talking right now, so we're going to let he and his team communicate. Let's see if we can jump in now. Hey, Eric, it's Burton up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Eric, we saw how important 1 point can be last week. How much pressure does that put on this race?
Puts a lot of pressure on every lap of the race, not just the race in general. Just, man, getting every point you can in every stage and doing all you can to keep your track position and run good laps. Just, it all counts. It all matters. We saw that last week. So really proud of the effort and the fight that we put in with this Smithfield team. And I feel like we've got a really good Ford Fusion for today. So it should be a fun day.
Well, Eric, this track is a huge challenge. Tell us why it's so difficult.
Well, it just changes a lot. The pace slows down. It gets a lot of rubber on it. You'll see it get really black as we run, and the handling of the car just changes dramatically as it goes from a clean concrete to rubber down. So keeping up with that and keeping up with the adjustments and just track position, it's a really, really tough place to pass. So it just all matters. And you got to have a good car, and I feel like our car was pretty good yesterday in final practice. The guys did a really good job of getting a good balance on the car. So looking forward to it. Appreciate everybody at Stewart Haas Racing, man. They've been bringing incredible race cars to the track every week, and all the guys on this 10 team, our Smithfield Ford Fusion's been pretty good. So it's pretty cool to be in the round of 12, and now we got to go make the most of this opportunity.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you giving us a little bit of words there before the race starts. Good luck, bud.
Yep, thanks, guys. Enjoy it.
While you were talking to Eric Almirola, big news for Jimmie Johnson. The 11-time Dover winner comes down pit road with an issue with the right front. The tire
I thought was loose. You're going to see how much the wheel moves around, but under closer inspection, it's not just the wheel. It's the center hub, the studs, and everything. So definitely some sort of major suspension failure on the 48 under pace laps. This baffles me. A 7-time champion, an 11-time winner, and the 48, Jimmie Johnson, will not even take the green here at the Monster Mile.
Yeah, this really is incredible news. And Jimmie Johnson right now on a 52-race winless streak. And that's a career long for him. He's talked about how this was a race that he could rebound after a great performance a week ago. You look at 16 consecutive seasons with a win, and potentially one of his best tracks now might be off the table as far as a possibility of a win. Look at the names that he joins as far as consecutive seasons with wins. 11 wins here. That's why this racetrack's so important for him to get potentially that one win this year. But you see the crew running back into the garage. Obviously, a huge mistake here getting the car set up for this race, Steve.
And it has to be a mistake. Jeff and I were just discussing that up here. I can't fathom. I can't understand. Think of how many times the cars go on the racetrack. It didn't run more than 45 miles an hour for it to fall apart. It had to be either some sort of crazy parts failure or some sort of just mechanical mistake. But either way, the field's bunching up. We're going to see the green flag without Jimmie Johnson.
Well, we were riding along with Eric Almirola just a moment ago. We'll go back into the cameras that we have, guys.
Well, we're riding along with Eric with the Gander Outdoors camera. See, this camera's going to give us some great shots. Be right against the wall all day long. Also along with A.J. Allmendinger, the Kroger Click List camera, the Burma camera. This is going to be exciting also.
Oh, I like that shot. 42, Kyle Larson with the Credit One Bank onboard camera. Once again, we can see out the right side of this 42 automobile. That groove widens up. You don't know how close we may get to the wall in the corner. And then, hey, there's always a great view from the front row. Kevin Harvick with the Busch Beer onboard camera. And this shot right here, I really want you to look at his head inside that headrest as he loads down in these corners. It's going to be a great shot all day.
And during Countdown to Green, we learned a great story. You see Kevin Harvick here, one of his biggest fans here at the race. He was here just to enjoy the race, but was surprised yesterday by Kevin Harvick when Kevin Harvick came to him and said, Michael Kelly, we appreciate what you do for our country. We want you to be the Grand Marshal. Throw the green flag to start this race. Michael Kelly will be going on his 13th deployment. This time, he's headed to the Middle East in just a couple days. An 18-year veteran of the Air Force. We want to thank Michael Kelly and all the Armed Services members for what they do, but what an honor for Michael Kelly to be able to throw the green flag today at this race.
See, that racetrack's not got any rubber on it, so those guys are probably going to be dropping and adjusting those track bars to give that rear a little extra grip till this track tightens up with that rubber.
All right, so Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch, because of the most points, he has lane choice. We saw this yesterday. It's going to come into a conversation for all day, which lane you choose on the restart. Kyle Busch has chosen the outside lane. Green flag, round 2 underway. It did not work in the Xfinity Series starting on the outside. Will it work today in the Monster Energy Cup Series?
Man, Kyle was really high, close to the wall off of turn 2. Ran real hard through 1 and 2 on that restart. Look at Keselowski jumping out there. But here comes the 4 car.
Powering back on the inside. Can Harvick steal the lead away?
Kyle Busch really trusting that middle lane. Drove way deep in the corner. Can he make grip on the corner exit? Pretty good job right there.
Clears the 4. Kyle Busch in front. Kevin Harvick running second. Brad Keselowski has the 3rd spot.
How green that racetrack is. We had a race here yesterday. There was rubber from the apron all the way to the fence.
Keep in mind, remember what Marty said, beginning of this race, wholesale changes on this 18 car. The first time Kyle had a chance to feel how this car is going to drive is when they dropped the green flag. He had no idea what he had when this race started.
Start of the race, preferred line down at the bottom of the track, and then it's going to work its way up.
Yeah, when this racetrack rubbers up, it's really tight, but under caution, they pick up a lot of that rubber on that bottom groove only. And so that bottom groove is really the preferred line on restarts because it'll be the cleanest line.
Well, I mentioned this camera shot of Kevin Harvick. Watch him work the steering wheel, watch his head within the headrest, but look inside the visor. It's got a little reflection, but at times right there, look at the focus in those eyes as he looks down around the corner, looking for that mark. At over 150 miles an hour, you have to look so far ahead of you, making sure he knows where to drive that car, and then as he exits out onto the straightaway, he'll look up, glance, and check that mirror.
And also what he's looking at is he's watching that 18 car. That 18 car really is not on the bottom of the racetrack on corner exit. I think Kevin Harvick's looking at that thinking, okay, I got a little better car. Keep running that bottom, take advantage of a weakness that Kyle Busch has.
You see the steering wheel there with the 4-car Kevin Harvick. Not a lot of movement in the corner. Seems to be very secure in the back. Really good speed out of that car. Looks to be handling really good right off the green.
Biggest story before the green flag even flew, the 48 in the garage. Kelly, what's going on?
Well, I've just got back here. I got a little update from the team, and what they told me is that Jimmie said, hey guys, I just killed the splitter, and I think something broke on the right front. So that immediately happened when they got it back here. They replaced the splitter, or trying to replace the splitter, actively working. Jimmie is still strapped inside the 48, so they're doing what they can to get him back out. But you've got to imagine the disappointment for this team at a place they thought they could show up and win. And now Jimmie's starting from the garage.
Well, Kelly, thanks for the update. And I would imagine the splitter is a result of the failure, right? Something in that right front suspension obviously broke for that 48 car to fall down on the racetrack, as we see his teammate Chase Elliott work inside Martin Truex Jr. in that 78. And then driving it around on that splitter with such a low ride height, probably drug that splitter off. With 393 laps to go, they might as well take the time now, Jeff, right? Make it aerodynamically the best they can.
Yeah, really at this point, it's trying to learn something for next year, right? But, I mean, that's really all you're trying to do. I mean, I'm shocked that something like that can happen to a team, a 7-time champion team. That's just something that's so uncharacteristic.
I'm shocked that Martin Truex Jr. is back to 9th place now as we see the 10 car of Eric Almirola trying to close in. Truex had a 3rd place starting position and has dropped all the way back to 9th. We heard at the start of the show how they did not like the car and made a ton of changes last night. I talked to Martin and he said they were slow. Even though their average looked good yesterday, they were very slow, not happy with the car. Right now in crisis mode, trying to figure out how to maintain the track position, get a chance to work on it.
And I talked to Eric Almirola in the opposite conversation with Eric. Eric was extremely excited about his car. He said he felt really good, felt like they had a car if he did everything right with, they could win this race.
You see Jimmie Johnson rejoining the race right here. He'll be 10 laps down, I believe. He missed the first 10 laps of the race. So, man, talk about a bad year. Winless. Winless has never happened in his career, and currently winless. I really looked at this as a race that I thought he could do it, right? I just thought after last week and that big move to try to win, so much talk about that, Jeff, I thought this was going to be the race he was going to bounce back.
And Steve, you and I talked about Kyle Larson when we came on air about how good he's been at this racetrack. Been very consistent, and he was one of the guys we looked at yesterday in practice as having a car we felt like could win the race. You can see as we ride along, he, much like Harvick, pretty calm on the wheel. Nothing bad happening. What's he saying, Dave?
However, he is saying it is on the edge right now. That was about 5 laps ago, Jeff, on the edge.
On the edge. So, Junior, I would take that as saying that the back of the car just doesn't have the grip that he wants. If he was complaining about the front, he probably would describe that as being tight, not turning well enough. But on the edge just sounds like to me a lack of overall grip.
Yeah, but I agree with you looking at the steering wheel. Not a lot of movement there. Not checking the rear end a lot. Not having to chase the back of the car a lot. Unlike Eric Almirola in front of him, who is really seems to be hanging on to his car. We saw him while we were inside the cockpit there. He was really having a lot of movement, chasing the back of the car around, and we saw it again from the view from Larson's car. The 10 car really out of the racetrack right now. Kelly?
All right, so as you guys said, Jimmie Johnson back on track, 10 laps down. I just got word from the team, Steve, that it was a lower ball joint failure. So just no good luck for this 48 team.
That is so disappointing and shocking that it would fail, the pace laps. But Dale, you talked about it, top of the show. This place is hard on equipment, Obviously, something that's happened here is the battle for the lead has tightened up between Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick.
Coming up on the lap traffic now, and so Kevin Harvick trying to negotiate his way around that 66 of Timmy Hill, and that has closed the gap now. Kyle Busch with a mirror full of Kevin Harvick. He looks to the inside. Harvick down at the bottom of the racetrack already. Kyle Busch up high, and Harvick is going to take the lead away.
Well, fall race looking a lot like the spring race. This driver in the 4, Kevin Harvick, man, he dominated that spring race, and this team is ready for the playoffs.
Look at the 18 there, man. A lot of movement in the 18 car in the center of the corner. Here comes Brad Keselowski trying to close in on the 18 and take advantage of that while he's trying, Kyle's trying to find somewhere to get comfortable, somewhere to get some stability in his line after having to give up that lead.
And Kyle didn't fight that very much. Kyle had his hand out the window. He saw Kevin coming, and he just didn't want to push his car at this point in the race.
Well, Kevin Harvick is in the Busch orange camo car. As we see the wave out of the window here. Right there, Kyle Busch letting them know, you got a faster car, we understand it. This orange camo car in this race, there's a little extra meaning to it. For every lap he leads today, this is Kevin Harvick, Busch is going to donate $1,000 to the National Forest Foundation, up to $25,000. The National Forest Foundation promoting the health and well-being of 193 million acres of public lands that people use to hunt, fish, and camp every day. So you can check out more about them at nationalforest.org. And if you're counting at home, he has already led 4 laps. $4,000 have already been pledged. It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Dover, the Monster Mile. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast and even select alternate camera angles, or you can ride along with in-car video of your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app today. Harvick still out front, has a 2.5 lead over now Brad Keselowski, who has moved up to 2nd. Has got by Kyle Busch back to 3rd. Logano and Boyer are the top 5. See AJ Allmendinger and riding along on that bumper cam for AJ.
One advantage of this bumper cam is its proximity to the surface. Look, you can easily see the tire tracks that are being put down every lap. See how light the straightaway is? It's because it doesn't load the tire, it doesn't wear the tire, then you go down in the corner. That's the same color concrete. Look how much darker it is in the corner just because of the tire wear.
That's a great tire. You want a tire that puts rubber down on the racetrack. This one's covering it from the top to the bottom. It's what you want every race you go to.
Marty.
Hey guys, Kyle Busch led the first 15 laps. They're now in third position trying to hang on that, keep Joey Logano behind. And we talked about all the changes for the 18 coming into the race. Adam Stevens telling me he's never made more changes on a Sunday morning before the race in his career. But Steve, it's pretty cool. We talked about the notebook they can go back to. They went back to notes from the last 2 races, and that included the win here last fall. Obviously, you don't expect it to be terrific right off the bat, but Kyle Busch hanging in third right now with a car that's too loose.
Well, Marty, and I'm confident to say that if they came into this round, say, tied or around that cutoff line, they wouldn't have been experimenting. But they're 55 points to the good, Jeff, right? So that is allowing this team, they didn't have to gamble in the race, but allow them to show up and practice something totally different. I like a team that is having a great year with 7 wins, but are never happy, always looking for more stuff.
He's moved around. Look at him now. He's ran Keselowski back down, and Brad's actually going to move up the racetrack to try that line himself. Last time by, Kyle Busch was the fastest car on the track, had moved to the top to find that speed, and now you see these guys. They get the information from their spotters. Hey, the 18 car's found some speed up there. Now look where Brad's at. Now the 18 is going to try to run even lower, get some clean air on that nose.
Yeah, Brad took his line away from him. He was running way up the racetrack, had clean air up there, and Brad said, hey, I'm going to take that away. And then when he did, it forced Kyle to do something different.
I was talking to TJ Major's spotter for the 22 car who's behind these guys. TJ said that Logano likes him to spot this racetrack almost like a speedway, a super speedway at Talladega and Daytona. He wants information all the time, even in the corners. Where are guys running? It's so line sensitive and air sensitive here. You can take a guy's line away very easily.
How about the sun coming out? We're seeing the sun peek out now and shine down on the racetrack, making it a little bit warmer. Does that make it a little slicker?
Might put a little temperature into the racetrack, temperature into the tire. That's all. That's going to make the tire rubber the track down even quicker. I like it. All the drivers, I believe, majority of them polled would say they want a warm, hot surface, hot day. Puts on great racing.
Here comes that 18. Kyle Busch has the momentum now as he's closing back in on the 2 of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dale, I was going to mention that as a crew chief, Adam Stevens at this point, I do think needs to be a touch concerned about how high the 18 is going, just because that black is good because it's helping the tire, but when you get up into that cleaner concrete, the reason it has grip is because there's no tire rubber down. Well, he's rubbering the tire up. That's, Marty, in my opinion, that's going to make it easier to fail a tire, and he cannot afford to give up points in the playoffs.
Always a concern with the right fronts here at Dover, but you guys mentioned the warmer weather today. That lays rubber into the track quicker, like Junior was saying. It also makes it quicker that they can move to the top. We saw it here in the spring, in the middle of a run. They lay all that rubber down, and they can run from the bottom to the top of the racetrack, but certainly Kyle Busch, the guy pushing that edge right now.
Yeah, if I'm a driver or if I'm a crew chief spotter, I'd say, look, don't be the guy that's putting that rubber down up above that groove. As that groove moves up, don't be the guy that's moving it up. Wait for someone else to put that rubber down, then you can go up there and run. If you're in the gray with the right front or the right rear tire, you're playing a really, really dangerous game being a playoff driver.
And we didn't see many drivers in practice run over 60 laps. So now you're talking about treading into areas where they don't know what the tire is going to do after that 60-lap run.
Yeah, all that has a lot to do with this racetrack and the shape of this racetrack. And one of the most unique things about this facility is the banking of the straightaway and how it changes the way you drive this corner. So look at this drop-off. So this is on the front straightaway driving into turn 1. Look how much lower the bottom of the racetrack is than it is where you are on the racetrack. That's 3 stories, Steve. 3-story fall driving from the wall to the bottom of the racetrack. When you run up the top of the racetrack, you don't have quite that fall. It doesn't require the car to do as many things. So that's why we see drivers moving up to the top. But check this out. Look how they just go straight downhill. This is very unique. No other racetrack is like this.
And you can see the rear bumper cover as it gets closer to the racetrack. That's that rear suspension traveling with that vertical load. Tough, tough, tough on equipment and drivers.
And look at this. Once again, the pressure being added to Brad Keselowski as Kyle Busch continues to search around the racetrack for grip, and now he's finding it down low.
And he can find that shorter distance on the bottom of the racetrack, but look at the straightaway. Brad running the high side just drives away on the straightaway. That's the advantage of running that top groove, is being in the throttle harder and carrying more speed down the straightaway. We saw yesterday in the Xfinity race, 1 tire issue at lap 65. And so these guys have to be concerned around lap 60 and beyond.
and it's amazing these two seem to race each other harder. They've said they don't like each other, so that's why they race each other hard.
NASCAR Heat 3 is available now on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Go to NASCARHeat.com today.
You're watching the Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 from Dover International Speedway. Make sure to tune in on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern to the Morning Drive on NASCAR Radio Channel 90. That's NBC Sports on Sirius XM. This week, Kyle Petty is going to join the Bagman and Pete Pistone as they talk about what took place here at the Monster Mile, and they'll look forward to Talladega next weekend. Let's get a few updates. We start with Kelly.
Rick, we talked about that dominating performance for Kevin Harvick and this Ford team here in the spring. The only time a team has swept both stages and completed the race win. And crew chief Rodney Childers was confident this morning, telling me they got a lot of long race runs done in practice yesterday, and the car felt good on all those. And as much as this race is about collecting more playoff points, he told me, look, we really want to go out there and win this one and eliminate Talladega next week, which is the wild card race. Eliminate that from their conscience next week. So this team has all their sights set on victory lane and a sweep of races this year, Marty.
Kelly, so far, Brad Keselowski has been able to hold off Kyle Busch. He's hanging on to the second position. This is a new car for the two team, brand new body build as well. In fact, they're so confident this is the direction they want to go. Paul Wolfe would love to turn this car around for Kansas. Yes, that's 2 weeks away, but they feel like they found a direction here, and that's what they want to stick with, Dave.
Marty, when I talked to 9-car crew chief Alan Gustafson this morning, he said, yeah, we were okay. You always want to go faster. When I talked to driver Chase Elliott on the ride-arounds today, he said, we weren't very good. I said, well, how many changes did they make for you? He said, a lot. So the 9-car, happy, the driver, that he's going in the right direction. Since the start of the race, 9th to 6th.
Yeah, Dave, I think Chase Elliott's car looks really good. Watch how he just wraps the bottom of the racetrack. Left side tires right on the bottom. You know, we've seen some other guys move up the racetrack. Well, Chase Elliott's making really good time. He had the fastest lap on the racetrack that time without having to use the entire racetrack, still right on the bottom.
Yeah, talked to his crew chief. Said they don't fire off very well. Not very good speed those first 20 laps, but they love the way their car gets through the middle of the corner. It's starting to show.
All right, crew chief. If you are crew chiefing for Kevin Harvick, who now has a 4-second lead over second place Keselowski, are you telling him, hey, take it easy on my tires? We don't know if it's going to be able to make it all the way to the end. We haven't seen that tested yet. Do you slow him down at all, or you say keep digging?
No, I'm not worried about the 4 of Kevin Harvick. If he has a 4-second lead, that tells me that not only is his car driving pretty well, but I like where he's running on the racetrack, down on the bottom, in the middle of all that tire rubber, which will definitely help the right front grip. I'd be more concerned, Marty, for some of the cars that are seeking grip at the top of the racetrack, kind of blazing the path, putting that tire rubber down.
And Steve, that's an excellent point. Alex Bowman among them. He has been at the very top. We always talk about playoffs being risk versus reward. Yes, there's speed up there if you want to run the high groove, which Alex Bowman, he's on the bottom, of course, but he's been running the high groove for much of this run. But, Junior, there's risks there as well. You can run that right front off. And, in fact, Alex a moment ago, about 2 laps ago, said, I'm concerned. Maybe we should think about the bottom a little bit more because that right front may not last as long as you want it to.
Man, I love the fact that those guys are cognizant of that and thinking, hey, you know, maybe I need to give up a little bit here because that top is going to be there all day long, but I wouldn't want to be one of the first guys up there really putting the rubber down because you're the one that, when you run that top, you carry a lot more speed. You're in the throttle really, really hard on corner exit, and we've seen right fronts and right rear tires go to the cords and just blow out. And it's early in the race. I'd wait till we get another cycle or get another set of tires on to go up there. There's speed up there, though. It's hard. You know, it's forbidden fruit, if you will.
Always trying to find that speed around a racetrack.
Hey, Junior, one guy that's not listening to you at all is Kyle Larson. Look where he is. He is right against the wall in the middle of both corners. Doesn't really enter high, but runs right against the wall, right in the middle. Watch his style. Drives in the corner, not against the wall. The track's just not going to allow him to do that yet because there's no rubber there, but he is getting all of it.
He's outside of it.
Yes, he is getting all of it in the middle and on exit, and the problem with that is he's going the wrong way. He's falling back to 12th. He just doesn't have speed right now, and on top of that, he's having to use a ton of speed, just a ton of racetrack rather, just to keep the speed that he currently has. They have work to do in their car for sure. Now back to the bottom.
And he's running right now, as far as on the racetrack points-wise, he's 11th. So he's outside that top 8. Obviously, nothing gets decided at the end of this race, but we've talked about how bad it is to try to dig out of that hole after this first race, Dave.
Rick through the middle of the corner. 42 car will not turn, according to the driver. At the exit of the corner, back end wants to come around. There it is, typical Dover drivers. Tight in the middle, loose off.
Every time. At some point during the weekend, you're going to hear that. This is a great race right here. See Clint Bowyer's run Joey Logano down. Joey and Clint are both running the bottom of the racetrack. They've run the 2 and the 18 down. Clint just has nowhere to go. Joey up the racetrack a little bit. Clint tries to pack the air underneath him. Try to get the 22 loose. Can't quite make it happen.
And sometimes if you get on that left rear quarter panel on the corner exit, you can get a guy tight. You can get him up off the bottom. You can actually make his car push.
Look at this racing. There are cars everywhere.
Clint trying to make something happen with the lap car. Just nowhere to go.
Logano boxed in now in the 22 as he tries to manipulate that 22 through this lap traffic.
And Clint's going to have to be careful because Chase Elliott's going to try to take advantage. Clint jumps up to block it.
Clint did not want to go around the outside of that 95 if he could help it. Hoping that Regan Smith might move off the bottom and let him go by low, but he didn't.
Boyer's going to be able to make the pass, get by the 95 of Regan Smith, filling in for Casey Kane.
And now look at that distance that Joe Logano's been able to pull away because of that. And it'll take him a while to close that gap. Bowyer to close that gap on Logano.
Harvick now has an 8-second lead over Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Logano, and Bowyer all in the top 5.
NASCAR is brought to you by McDonald's new Trick Treat Win Game. With 1 in 4 odds of winning instantly, you won't need luck. Hurry in. Ends October 31st.
Wednesday night hockey. This is where the stars come to play. And this week, it's a Stanley Cup final rematch. Vegas Golden Knights face Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. That's Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. 67 laps complete, 53 to go in stage one, and a lot of talk. There's been a few stragglers that have come to pit road, but a lot of talk of when will the lead lap cars and the guys up front make that decision to come to pit road.
Well, and Rick, in a normal racetrack, I would say come a little early, get some fresh tires, and try to gain some advantage on the field. But this is the one racetrack I look at it very differently. I don't believe it will run green. I think every time we get close to green flag cycle, someone has a tire issue because it's so difficult. And as tires and drivers get tired, this monster mile makes it more difficult. Look at the 14 of Clint Boyer right here. He has got a big slide. And you see on the right-hand side of your screen, the 18 is slow on the 8, slowed down on the bottom. It looks like he's coming to pit road.
Yeah, I think he thinks he might have a tire issue. He's
I
slowed
agree.
way down.
Well, you got to pay attention to this pit road speed. We see so many times drivers overshoot pit road. Kyle won't right here because he knows he has a problem, so he's super slow, but you got to be careful on this pit road. It's easy to overshoot.
There's Ryan Blaney. He was 9th and he came to pit road. Marty.
And Ryan Blaney saying his car just way too tight. He said, I can't use a track bar to try and free it up anymore because it's making me too free on entry. So some changes here for these guys coming a little earlier than we thought to pit road. Here on lap 71, you see Kyle Busch coming down pit road. Gingerly got his car down to pit road. Was able to get it on and did not miss the commitment cone violation there, so all good for Kyle Busch getting to pit road. Car actually got, we told you, too free early on, too tight for Kyle Busch the longer they ran. As you lay rubber into this racetrack, it certainly changes, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr., the 78 team, made a lot of big changes overnight to the car. Martin saying that he's losing all front grip from the second apex to exit. He said that's where he needs the most help. They're going to try to give him that help with an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel, Dave.
Chase Elliott started free, then the car began tightening up, so they've changed the air pressure in the Goodyear Eagles going on the race car. They'll get it full of Sunoco fuel and send him back.
Logano and Boyer both on pit road.
And Rick, these guys just absolutely duking it out on the racetrack. Clint Boyer would catch Joey Logano. He would fall back a little bit. Both of these cars a little bit too tight. Air pressure adjustments for everybody here trying to free their cars up. And it's a little bit of a gamble, Steve, right? It's a different racetrack when the rubber is picked up. When the rubber's laid down like this, though, the car is very tight. Logano beats the 14 off pit road.
Yeah, you're right, Marty. You're going to have to make adjustments, not just every time you put tires on, but whether it's under green or under yellow. The track conditions vary greatly as we see the 88 of Alex Bowman leave his pit stall. 42 of Kyle Larson's also on pit road, as well as the 2 of Brad Keselowski, Marty.
And Brad Keselowski leaving pit road, he too tight like everybody else. They made an air pressure adjustment trying to free up that car. Kevin Harvick on pit road, Kelly.
Yeah, not much to complain about for Kevin Harvick, although he said he'd like for the 4 car to turn a little bit better. They handed him a drink bottle. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Don't expect any changes on the 4 car.
Little stumble with the Jackman leaving the right side, but luckily with the lead that 4 of Kevin Harvick had, I don't think it'll cost him the lead. Might cost him a little time on the track, but he should be fine. He had an 11-second lead over second place prior to the pit stops.
Marty.
And you see Kyle Busch on the racetrack. This is actually the right rear that came off Kyle Busch's car. Goodyear officials, you can see the striping there, tell us that is high wear. That is not a real issue, so that's high wear on the 18. That's the right rear, Steve. Usually we see right front issues. That's the right rear off Kyle Busch's car for running that high line.
Yeah, so you see those lines through the center of the tire right there. Normally what happens is the right rear tire will Dale Jr., I'm impressed with the draw. It was a 6 instead of a circle, but I'm good with it. In the middle is where the right rear tire is going to wear the most, unlike the edges. So when you wear far enough down, what happens is it actually catches the fabric and unwinds like string off a wheel. And that's what you're seeing right there. That's why that looks awful. I'm a big fan of that. Gave the driver some notice, he got the pit road, right, Jeff? I remember there used to be an issue when you have a tire problem, it goes flat, you hit the wall, it's severe. This Kyle Busch was able to catch it, drive it to pit road. But that, to me, doesn't shock me. High wear, he was the first guy running up on that gray concrete.
And right said he was loose. Said he was loose. That makes it harder on the right rear tire. So he probably damaged that tire early in that run when he went up, and he was complaining about not enough rear grip.
A couple guys that are gambling right now. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he has stayed out. He has yet to come to pit road. Kevin Harvick, though, is the only one that's on the lead lap that has come to pit road until Stenhouse Jr. and Regan Smith come to pit road.
Stenhouse has doubled down, man. He is not only staying out on the racetrack, but he's also been running the high side of the racetrack in that high wear zone, or that area where you're going to really affect the tire wear. We'll see how this is going to work out for him.
We'll see how long he can stay out on the track. Again, Kyle Busch trying to unlap himself as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17 continues to lead here at Dover. He has yet to come to pit road for the 4 fresh tires and fuel. Green flag pit stops have cycled through. Harvick back out front has a 7.5 second lead over Joey Logano. The hits keep coming for the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. When they came to pit road, a penalty, Steve.
Yeah, the 48 was pitting outside the pit box. They had to come in, do a pass through. They're basically completely out of the race now, 15 laps down. And Kelly asked the question, I want to know if that suspension part was new for the day, that lower ball joint. She said it's been on here all weekend long, is what the team informed her. So that tells me, Jeff, they're going to have to go home and try to analyze what happened. That part should easily be able to run. Every other race car has that same part on it. So that failure, a team like Hendrick Motorsports runs brand new parts. You're going to have to understand whether it was an application or a part failure. And just a tough day after really a tough week. I mean, remember back to the Roval, the 48 of Jimmie Johnson all weekend long had very impressive speed at a new racetrack, and the closing laps already what looked like to be guaranteed into the next round because of the points cushion. He tries to win the race, wheel hop spins out, makes contact with the 78, and then comment from the 78's crew chief, like, hey, after spinning out, maybe he'll buy us all nice road bikes. Jimmie, an avid cyclist. Well, Jimmie, lightheartedly, goes to Walmart, and he buys a bunch of kids' bikes, leaves them on the 78 hauler. What does Cole Pern do? They give it away to some kids. And I love this right here. Free bikes, but just keep a note. Tends to wheel hop, which is basically what caused Jimmie Johnson to spin out. So, listen, Jimmie Johnson, 7-time champ, 83 wins, Kelly. He's a dominating force and has been for his entire career. But I can't think of a competitor that is more professional in the downtimes than Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, and certainly well respected throughout the garage here. I talked to his crew chief, Tad Knaus, about that finish last week, and he told me, in hindsight, he wishes he would have said something to Jimmie in that closing lap at the Roval. He said, I don't think it would have taken much to get him to kind of back down, but he said On the other side, I feel like if we would have won that race, we would have had a shot to win the championship. He feels like their cars and their performance at tracks the last 4 or 5 weeks have been strong enough and that they've got enough good tracks remaining in these playoffs that if they could have gotten the win there, it would have been a good momentum builder and springboard to go for that 8th championship. So it's kind of a lot of a Monday morning quarterbacking. Do you or don't you go for the win?
This is getting very interesting here as the 4 closing in on the 88 of Alex Bowman. That's to put the first of the playoff contenders a lap down. Bowman currently running 17th, only 18 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Rick. You know, there's 12 playoff guys and 18 on the, so Alex not having the best day, but I mean, the pace of this 4 car, and this is Kevin Harvick, right, Jeff? And when he has you up against the ropes, he doesn't let up.
Oh, yeah. If he's on your throat, he's going to push harder, and that's what he knows right now. He's got a guy that he's going to have to race to make it to the next round of the playoffs. Put him a lap down, and then get by as many people as you can to take him out of that free pass position, Marty.
Just too free early in runs for Alex Bowman, too tight at the end of the run, trying to do all he can to stay on the lead lap here. He told me we're a living example of how stage points help you. We got stage points in Vegas in round 1, stage points at Richmond, and that's why we advanced after the Roval into this round of 12. They did not get stage points if they finish where they're at right now. Obviously 17th, 28 to go in the stage, hanging on to that lead lap right now.
Well, you heard Marty talk about stage points and how they help the 88. Well, currently they're going to hurt because playoff teams run first through 11th. And just a reminder, at the end of the first and the second stage, points will be awarded to the top 10. 10 points for the winner of the stage, 1 point for 10th. So you have to be inside the top 10. Bowman and Kyle Larson, currently the only 2 playoff drivers not running inside the top 10 with 27 to go in this stage.
See Kevin Harvick jumping on the outside, trying to catch Alex Bowman behind those 2 lap cars. Harvick knows that the air is off the front of that 88 because he's behind those 2 cars, trying to get around him on the outside.
Yeah, if I'm Bowman, I'm trying to tell my spotter, where is the 4 running? I want to get up in front of him, make the air dirty.
Big run right here.
He'll go to the inside, trying to take that spot away. The problem is he has the 32 of Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah, the double zero is going to be a pick for Harvick.
Bowman back underneath him, though. Crossover.
There you go. Not often you see the leader get raced like that by the lap car, but this is for very important playoff position or playoff points on the line here down the road. If he goes a lap down, it's going to be harder for him to get those points.
Now he's in the free pass position, but the second to 4 goes by another car on the lead lap, which will be Paul Menard. If he gets by Paul Menard, then that takes the 88 out of the free pass position.
Menard's about half a corner in front of the 4, so that's quite a few laps before he'll get to that car. So Bowman's now hoping that a caution might come out.
So he's got a long way to go to get to Menard, and that's Alex Bowman's best friend right now. He's hoping for a caution, hoping something happens before the 4 can get all the way up to Menard. It's a long way to go, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, like Dale mentioned, it's about half a corner, and
Menard's running some good laps.
Yeah, I was going to say, with 23 to go, I'm not sure it's a guarantee he's going to get there.
Yeah. Now, same thing for Bowman, though. He's got McMurray behind him, keeping the pressure on for that position, so he can't allow McMurray to get by.
Another dominating performance being put on by Kevin Harvick in the spring race. It was sweeping this first and second stage in the win. Now he's been out front for 76 laps already as we go NASCAR nonstop. 15 laps to go on the first stage of the Gander Outdoors 400, the Monster Energy Cup Series from Dover International Speedway. You can get NASCAR coverage when you're on the go with NASCAR Mobile. It's the official app of NASCAR. It puts race coverage, live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. All you have to do, search NASCAR in your app store, or you can visit NASCAR.com/mobile. There's Chase Elliott. He's currently inside the top 10, running in the 4th position. Race leader Kevin Harvick right now in the middle of that scrum. Quite a few cars he's trying to work his way around, and he's still trying to get to that 21 of Paul Menard to put Paul Menard a lap down. He's closing in on the 21 now with all this congestion on the racetrack, but Paul Menard is currently running 15th, so that is the pace that Kevin Harvick is setting. He has put 16th, which is Alex Bowman, on down, at least a lap down.
And why this is so important, as we talked about it before we went to break, is that this would take Alex Bowman out of position to get the free pass as the caution comes out and when the stage ends. So Kevin Harvick, he knows who he's racing. He wants to put as many people a lap down as he possibly can.
And how about Paul Menard? Great run here, almost all the way through the first stage, running inside the top 15. First year driving that iconic 21. So much history in the sport for the Wood brothers. Big slide right there, though.
A little too much speed into turn 3. Couldn't hold the bottom.
Trying, right? He knows the leader's coming. That's effort. That's a little overdrive right there.
Kevin Harvick's just going to lock those left side tires on the very bottom.
And around he goes.
It's not over. Alex, you can see right here, Menard's still putting up a fight.
That line the 4 cars running, I mean, keeping those left side tires as close to that apron as possible, especially through the middle of the corner where all the grip is. The lower you can run. You can see it's a little bit lighter for the left side tires down there. That's going to be a little greener, a little more grip.
You see Ty Dillon there in that 13 car. He pitted not many laps ago. He's got better tires than both of these guys.
Eric Almirola having some troubles off of turn 2 earlier. Replay. Watch his hands. See what happens here. He gets up behind only inside of 41. Ooh, man. And if you don't catch that, you're in the inside wall, Jeff. I mean, there ain't nowhere to go, man. This place, you got the banking on the straightaway that's so steep. Once you lose the back of the race car, it's going to hit something.
You know, there's somewhere to go, the airport. Because your day is over, let me tell you.
Marty.
9 to go in stage 1 here, Rick. Joey Logano hanging in second. He's won at every racetrack in the round of 12 except Dover. Todd Gordon telling me today, we've been terrible in practice here over the years, so we had a different philosophy coming into this race, leaning on our teammates a little bit more, working out for Joey Logano, Dave.
I asked Kurt Busch's crew chief, Billy Scott, today about his run here. He says he's got to use a lot of patience today. And then the voices of Jeff Burton and Dale Jr. in my head saying, you got to attack this place, counteracted that. So I had Billy explain. And he said, well, you know what? You've got to find the high 90s in percentage of attack level. You won't pass anyone in the 80s, and you can't run 100% of attack all day long. Kelly?
78 team tried a totally new setup yesterday, but crew chief Cole Pern told me they just couldn't make it work. They couldn't get some of the core issues fixed with it, so they switched back to a more normal setup, went back to the basics. He said yesterday they felt like they were a 7th or 8th place car. He was hopeful that they'd be closer to a top 5 car today. He's been running in the 10th position, and Martin Truex Jr. just saying he can't get that 78 car to turn very well through the center of the corners.
And again, stage points coming up in just under 6 laps now, and that's very important, especially for a driver like Joey Logano. Joey Logano didn't come in the top 3 as far as the points the way they are running, but right now he is tied with Martin Truex Jr. And you see the guys on the left side of your screen, the green lines, those are all playoff drivers. So the top 11 all fighting for those playoff points. But as I mentioned, Logano, a driver who wasn't in the top 3, wasn't part of the big 3 as we continue to call them. Right now he's tied with Martin Truex Jr. because of where he's running and the potential for the playoff points and the stage points that he can get at the end of stage 1.
So we continue to talk about the 88, trying to stay close to Kevin Harvick to get the free pass. Well, the other option is to run down Paul Menard, who's currently in the free pass position, and the 88 has moved all the way to the top. That's the Dale Jr. Dover line there, Jr. around Dover. If he can get by this 21, and the 4 of Kevin Harvick doesn't lap another car, the 88 will get the free pass, Marty.
And Steve, an interesting observation from Kyle Busch with 3 to go here in stage 1. He said all of a sudden the track bar mount or track bar reader on my dash is blank. I have no idea where it is. I don't know where I left it at. So Junior, you drove with these movable track bars inside the car. How big of a deal is that for Kyle? He has no idea where he's left the track bar and the car won't show him.
You'd actually want to, obviously want to know where it is, where the adjustment's at. But Kyle's a good enough race car driver. I trust that he knows how the car feels and how he needs to adjust that track bar to the feel that he's understanding from the car. So it'll be tough for him though. These guys like to move those track bars down on restarts to give a little security for that. Doing things like that, those type of tricks he won't be able to do. Here's the 88 trying to get that free pass position here.
You see him hit the back of the 21?
He just gave him a shot down the back straightaway.
This is important to me.
This is it. Final lap. You see Kevin Harvick has taken the white flag more or less for the stage. So Kevin Harvick trying to close this out. A big move for Alex Bowman to get into the free pass position by passing Paul Menard. Now he has to stay there while the top 10 will cross the line. Kevin Harvick, another playoff point.
Yeah, the free pass is over because they're a lap down, shockingly enough, and because they're inside that top 10, they get scored at the line. Great work by the 88 of Alex Bowman there to secure that lap.
That was great work. Every point matters.
Man.
Every single point matters. Great job by Alex Bowman.
You just never know, right? You never know.
Kevin Harvick, stage 1 winner. He dominated in the spring, and guess what? He's dominating here again today.
Down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery. Going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Go Gator. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. And by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of NASCAR. Kelly.
Service just completed on the 4 of Kevin Harvick. He was not as happy with his race car that time around, so they made a small wedge adjustment on the right rear. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Joey Logano said his car stayed tighter that run on entry, Kelly. They were good. Center exit for Kyle Busch with the track bar dash issue. They asked him to power cycle the car. He said that didn't do anything. They're worried that some fabric, remember that right rear came apart earlier, might be inside the adjuster on the 18 car. Now Kyle Busch saying it may not be working at all. all. Car was too tight for Kyle Busch that run, Rick.
And the race off pit road brought to you by Kroger Click List. Logano makes the pass on pit road thanks to his team, as you see the rubber getting picked up on the racetrack. Time now for the Toyota Social Spotlight. Let's go to Jeff and Steve.
All right, Jeff, this is our touchscreen test area of the race to see if we can operate this correctly. But Toyota Social Spotlight, so let's go to social media. We're going to go to Twitter. And this week, NASCAR and NBC, we sent out, Toyota Racing wants to know, who is your favorite up-and-coming driver? Everybody sent us their responses. So the first response, Toyota Racing, Haley Deegan. I think this one's an easy decision after that historic victory in the K&N Series. First female to win in that series. We have Natalie Decker as well. Logan Seavey, an up-and-coming dirt driver.
A hot dirt track driver. We saw him win an ARCA race on the dirt early this year. He's doing a lot of good work. A lot of dirt track guys are following him. Seabell Racing, that's an easy one, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's up and coming anymore. I think he's won enough Xfinity races. He's won more races as a rookie than anybody else in the history of the Xfinity Series. So I think he's out of the up-and-coming category.
Yeah, Rick, I don't think that one's up-and-coming. That one's here.
Well, pit road, obviously not a friendly place right now for a few drivers, including the 9 of Chase Elliott. They just pitted from 5th, had an uncontrolled tire. Take a look.
At the right front here. All right, there's nobody around it. All right, it's a good call, I think, Steve.
I mean, basically the rule is within arm's length. So, you know, why the tire didn't roll or didn't move when the tire changer left, the carrier wasn't there for just that split second. This is a controversial call for the fans, it seems like. But every time we have this discussion with NASCAR, and I have it with the teams, they seem to both agree that they're very clear on the call, even though they don't like it at times because it hurt their performance. I mean, it's made their jobs much more difficult, Marty, but the teams in NASCAR seem to agree on how it's called.
And Steve, following the situation for Kyle Busch sitting in 3rd. So we mentioned the right rear tire that came apart earlier. Their theory is that some fabric from that tire, as you mentioned, Steve, got wound inside the track bar adjuster. It is not reading on the dash for Kyle at all. He says he can move the track bar. He thinks the track bar is moving. He's not 100% sure, but the dash is showing nothing. They've asked him to power cycle the car. They've asked him to make sure that it's plugged in correctly. All of this Kyle's trying to do from inside the car, and they have no idea if they're going to have a track bar or not for the rest of the race, and honestly won't know until they get this run underway.
Yeah, Kyle Busch currently in the 3rd position, so it's Logano, Harvick, and Kyle Busch. But one of the things that's interesting about this track, Junior, you talked about it, under caution, how much it changes.
You see the difference in the rubber on the right side. It's been picked up by all the cars as the caution comes out. So this is the way it's going to be when they restart. That means that bottom groove is going to be greener with a little more grip. I'm interested to see. Joey looks like he's going to restart on the outside. I think I would take the bottom, guys.
And you know, Dale, we've been watching that 22. It was hard really to get a reference because the 4 was so dominant. But after that green flag pit stop, that 22 actually closed in on the 4 some. So we'll see who's made the adjustments.
Yeah, all day yesterday, the outside was chosen by the control car, but they struggled to be able to maintain the lead on restarts because that bottom groove cleans up and it becomes fast. And we'll see these guys. See if he can hold off this 4. It'll be tough for him to hold off Harvick, I think.
Jeff, you and I broke down how points were awarded for stage 1. Well, this is how it ended up.
Martin Truex, you know, he's like, hey, I got points, but everybody you're racing got them too. Almost everyone. Look at every single one of those guys are in the playoffs.
And now the field approaching. The Geico restart zone as we get ready to start the 2nd stage from the Monster Mile. Back up through the gears they go. Logano on the outside, Harvick on the inside.
Yeah, Joey, I was hoping maybe he'd get a good launch, but he didn't. Harvick stayed with him. Looks like he's going to clear him easily on the bottom. I'm telling you, man. I think you need to pick that bottom because when you pick that rubber up and that track gets grippier and gets cleaner, that bottom groove seems to be the preferred one for the restarts.
How about Clint Boyer? He's gotten up to 3rd place. A lot of pressure on the back of Kyle Busch by Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr.'s team did a good job, picked up 4 spots on that pit stop.
See if they worked on the handle of that race car. He was losing spots on that last green flag run. Sure, they made some adjustments. They probably made some adjustments on that 18 as well. He has an issue with the track bar. Doesn't know if it's working, whether he can adjust it or not. Can't see the digital readout on the dash.
So it's Harvick, Logano, Boyer, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. top 5. Then Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, and Eric Jones have broke into the top 10.
Whole field's back on the bottom of the racetrack. They'll be there until they can rubber it back in, and that bottom gets tight and slows down. Then that top will get more competitive.
Who'll be the first one to go is the question. Somebody will.
I feel a little more comfortable allowing the driver to go up there now because there's rubber up there. He won't be the first one putting rubber down. Won't be so much tire wear as we saw in the first run.
Since all the rubber was picked up, are you wearing your tires more running at the bottom of the racetrack now on that green track?
Only temporarily. It'll quickly rubber in. It's not as hard on the tires outside groove or the top groove. You run it easier on the bottom. You don't put the tire through as much stress as you do on that high side.
Riding along with Almirola. And look at how smooth that wheel is. Not a lot of movement at all, which we have seen out of some drivers that have a handful going around this track.
Be interesting to see what the difference is in this lap versus maybe lap 60. He's lifting a little bit there, waiting on the front to turn. When he holds his hands still like that in the corner, to me, it tells me that he's got real good security in the back. And he's waiting on the front.
Hey, Junior, it's almost the Mark Martin approach there. His whole forearm, almost his elbow on that steer. Remember, Mark used to wear that right elbow pad. Burton, you was his teammate forever, right? He would just put his whole arm on that steering wheel.
Oh, he come out with that elbow pad on. He's like, okay, he's meaning business today. He would literally get up on the wheel.
I'm not sure he does that every track or if that's just a Dover thing. I'm going to have to see what Eric looks like maybe in a couple weeks we go to Kansas, Dave.
You'll have to look at some video, just like Eric did this week. Johnny Klossmeyer, his crew chief, told me he is so well prepared. I said, in what way? He said he looks at so much video before the races, like from May to now, of his teammates and of what he did. And in particular this year, he picked out what he did wrong in May. Too much high line running. Got to get the car better on the low line. They worked on that all weekend long and feel like they had it good for the start of today's race.
All right, Junior, we had a little show and tell on the 18 tire with the telestrator. Let's try this again. We're going to look at the Eric Almirola. Look at the shifter at the bottom of the screen right there. You can barely see it. Look here. Look at how much that thing vibrates. You talked at the top of the show about how rough this racetrack is. This is both driveline vibration and just the concrete surface as well. I mean, that thing almost has a harmonic. It's buzzing like a bee.
Yeah, if it's shaking too much, you've seen these shifter handles break, just literally shatter and break off in the middle of a run. As a driver, you'll shift into fourth gear on a restart and drive about 50 laps, and then the caution comes out. You reach down there to knock the car into third gear, knock it out of gear, and there's no shifter anymore. You don't, like, what happened?
Well, we've lived that. And your telestrator work, I was A+. A+.
Every time I get it right, you don't have to say,
okay, just
good
bad?
job.
All right. Okay, I just wanted to.
Positive affirmation,
Yeah.
though. I mean, seriously, that's what you're going for.
And so we heard the 9 car with the penalty during those pit stops. Well, and having to come from the back, these are the kind of things you're going to have to do. This is not what a guy in the playoffs wants to be dealing with. 3 wide off of turn 2. Well, that's no big deal, but they've got to get into turn 3 and 3 wide. Look how tight this gets. I mean, that's just the kind of racing you're going to have to do. Harrison Rhodes in that 52 car, he's out there racing for himself as well.
All those guys are waiver rounds. A little bit easier to do with that tire that he's got. He's got newer tires. Kelly.
Well, that 4 team, Kevin Harvick, certainly been dominant on the racetrack, but they lost the lead on pit road. Certainly a team sport, and Kevin letting it known he was a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, just some info. After about lap 20 to 25 is when you get really good compared to the end. 25 to the rest of the run, it's really good. I'll manage my blood pressure first. I got you, I know. We got a long way to go.
All right, so it should be noted they've had a new rear tire changer starting at Darlington. That was the first time he had ever changed Cup tires. That's Michael Johnson. They call him MJ. Rodney's saying, hey, we need to get a little more consistent. Part of the problem is they can't poach from any other team because all 4 Stewart-Haas racing cars are in the playoffs. So maybe down the line, if not all 4 are in it, then they can start reworking their pit crew lineup a little bit.
Hard to believe having all 4 cars in can ever be a negative, but that would be it.
That's got to be a good thing, right?
It is, but she's right. You know, there's only so much resource. And right now, how can you have a favorite? All 4 teams have done what you've asked to do as a company. They continue to work in the playoffs. Another playoff driver, Jeff, we talked about at the top of the show. I expected this 42 to be a little better. Not helping himself on pit road right here. The work's done. Car pulls off, stalls the car, takes time to refire, loses 3 spots on pit road, still running in the 13th position.
wins at Talladega.
Yeah, baby. I love winning here.
Still think when I strap in there, sometimes it's a 50-50 shot whether I finish the race or not.
So much uncertainty when we go to Talladega. That's coming up next week. Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs will head to Talladega Superspeedway. There's 15,000 free campsites there. Young and old, able to experience an unbelievable atmosphere. For tickets, go to NASCAR.com/tickets to purchase your tickets today. It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Dover International Speedway. And I want to take another look at the 42 here, Junior.
Yeah, he's underneath Paul Menard. Gets into the door. Menard loose. Loose, man. What a save.
You see the tire tracks behind him, too, that he put down.
He didn't think Menard was going to come off the corner that low. Menard's like, what's going on? What are you doing, dude? Bam. That's a good hit. Look at that. Throws his hand up. What are you doing, dude? I'm racing. Come on.
Come on. And so those two battling back here. Menard trying to hang on to the spot he has, which he's a lap down, but still fighting back there. Want to go through the field, brought to you by Golden Corral. Let's start up front. We go with Kelly.
Kevin Harvick has extended his lead to 2 seconds over Joey Logano, and as we heard Rodney Childress say, they feel really good about their car. 25 laps and beyond into a run, which is the mark they have just hit. And even though it's playoffs time, this team told me they try to treat every single week the same and go about it business as usual. They feel like if they can get top 5 in both stages and the race here and in Kansas, it makes Talladega a non-factor, Marty.
Joey Logano having a very solid Dover race so far. We heard him talking about Talladega a moment ago. Todd Gordon told me we need to get out of here with a top 10 and go to Dega and, quote, do our thing. Todd Gordon said if we leave with 30 points, I'll feel good about the day. So far, they got 9 in stage 1. Clint Boyer having another fantastic run here at Dover. Finished second in the spring. This is the car where they finished second here, won at Michigan. In fact, they love this car so much that right now, it's going to be the leading candidate to go to Miami and hopefully, they hope, run for a championship, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. now running 4th. They made a chassis adjustment to his car last time down pit road, which seems to have helped out. His crew chief Cole Kern told me that he really wanted to max out their points today, grab stage points whenever they could, although they only got 1 in stage 1. He said, look, this weekend hasn't been anything amazing, but they feel like if they can come out of here with a solid run today, it might help for a more laid-back Talladega. Dave?
Kurt Busch is battling a tight race car right now, but it's been a good run. The last 11 races, 9 top 10s. That's only worse than one driver on the circuit in those last 11 races. Marty?
Dave, at dinner last night, Brad Keselowski spent most of the evening trying to convince Paul Wolfe, hey, we're not as bad as you think we are, bud. Right now, they are running in the 6th position. Car fairly good for Brad. They do struggle with it being a little too tight towards the end of runs. Kyle Busch right behind him in the 7th position, actually Eric Almirola. That's to you, Dave.
Yep, and he's still fighting that race car, Marty, just a little bit in the 10 car, but he says it's leveling off a little bit. So Almirola, we saw some video earlier where he was almost out of control. A little bit better this time for the 10 of Almirola. Marty, back to you.
Jumped too early there on Kyle Busch because he lost another spot struggling with the race car. But I can tell you the most important news for the 18 team, the track bar does work. Kyle got into this run very early on, tried it, said, yep, I can feel the difference. So track bar working, but again, he does not know where it sits, Kelly.
Denny Hamlin no longer in the playoffs. When I talked to Mike Wheeler, his crew chief, he told me that they're still definitely in performance mode, but they're also in learning mode. They have not been able to get a car that Denny has been comfortable with for the last several weeks, so they're trying some new things and already starting to look ahead towards 2019. Behind him is his teammate Eric Jones in the 20 car, another team that was eliminated from the playoffs last week, but they were confident coming into this race. Chris Gale, the crew chief, told me that they had the best practice they've ever had here at Dover. They said we're normally a 12th to 15th place car. Now we feel like we're more like a 5th to 7th place car. So they're optimistic they can come away with a top 10 here today, Marty.
Kelly, with the win at the Roval, Ryan Blaney scored 6 playoff points. That almost doubled his season total. He has 13 coming into this race, and he's going to need every point he can. Right now, sitting on the cut line, +6 above Eric Almirola if the race were to end, obviously, right now. Dave, the car too tight for Ryan Blaney.
Austin Dillon out of the playoffs now, but his crew chief, Justin Alexander, told me my guys are just as motivated to win. That's one goal before the end of the season. The other, finish top 5 in the points. Behind him, the 42 of Kyle Larson. On that last pit stop, they took a little extra time before the stall to remove a packer from both front-end suspensions. They're trying to get that splitter lower to the racetrack and help the handling, Marty.
They've got to commend the scrap for Alex Bowman to stay on the lead lap, or stay in the lucky dog position, we should say, and get that free pass once stage 1 ended. Right now, in 14th, he said the car's way too free on entry. He's having to over-slow it to get it to work through the center, Dave.
that uncontrolled tire for Chase Elliott put him back in the field on the restart. But the problem wasn't that he was the last car on the lead lap. The problem was he had to restart the race behind other cars. The penalty car goes way back, Steve. You know that. And he started like 30th on the field.
Yeah, because that penalty isn't just the back of the lead lap, it's the tail of the field, which means both lap down cars, lead lap cars. So it takes a long time to recover, but this 9 trying to work his way up, currently 15th.
We'll go back to the 18 of Kyle Busch. It's great news that he's able to adjust that track bar under the run. Kyle is a really, really good race car driver, and he will use that track bar during these long runs to adjust his car and make it handle better. He's struggling right now with the car, so that track bar still being in use is able to help him. The only problem he's going to have is not knowing where it is, because on restarts you want to reset it. You want it in a specific place on restarts, and he won't understand where that is and where he needs to put it, so he may be vulnerable on some of these restarts late in today's race.
Kyle Busch running back in the 9th position, but this race really has been dominated by Stewart-Haas drivers. Kevin Harvick, of course, out front now for 136 laps, but Clint Bowyer, his teammate, has moved up to 2nd. Kurt Busch is running in 5th, and Eric Almirola 7th. Looking strong today. NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing. The Gander Outdoors 400 from Dover International Speedway. Still out front, Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, well, guys are going to be loose in all day long. Let's look at it from the leader's point of view. Even him out front down into turn 1. Look at him. Oh, watch the back. Man, he's dealing with some issues just like everybody else. Shows you how slick this track is, how tough it is. Listen to some radio. He's getting some information to the 2 car from the spotter, Joey Meyer.
The leader's doing a shallow diamond. He drifts up to put his left just outside that black line on the bottom lane of 1 and 2. Similar line through 3 and 4. A light shallow diamond. Drifts up right here to a car width higher than you and then turns down the hill, and that's it.
I love that because there's so many different ways to run the corners here. You can run tight right around the apron. You can drift up, run a diamond like Joey's trying to explain the leader's doing. Guy's going to run up high. He's not trying to frustrate Brad with that information. He's trying to help him say, hey, man, this is what everybody's trying. This is what's making some time. You could try it if you like.
Since that restart, I've noticed that the rubber that's getting laid down is more distinct right at the bottom now. They're really getting dark, especially at corner exit. A real dark line now where it seems like a lot of guys are just staying right there on the bottom on exit.
Yeah, the most common balance issue off the corner exit is going to be tight. Guys are going to be plowing that right front tire through that part of the corner, and that's why it's laying down so much rubber right there. And there's a really hard compression right at that last moment, coming up out of turn 2 or turn 4 up on the straightaway, really pushes that tire into the racetrack and puts a lot of rubber down right there. See it off the corner, turn 2 right here too. It's a little darker right there as those guys push into that racetrack and jump up that hill.
Well, let's go on board with the 47 car because we got a great camera right on the nose of this car of A.J. Allmendinger that's going to show you that rubber you're talking about being driven into the racetrack. Just a great shot. You see A.J. Allmendinger kind of running the middle of the racetrack, but look how that rubber spread all over the racetrack. But right there on corner exit, that's where it's the darkest. That's where the cars get loaded up. Drives that rubber in the racetrack. See that how dark it is there? Then it's kind of faded. But as you exit the corners, it gets darker right there on that outside groove. That shows you where the right side tires are and just driving that rubber, creating the groove in the track.
Surprise, surprise. Battle for third. Martin Truex Jr., who was dropping back at the first run, has made some great adjustments on his car. Restarted 6th. His team got him up a few spots. He's driving his car up toward the front. He loves this racetrack.
They made wholesale changes overnight. They decided that they did not like the way the car was handling during practice, and so wholesale changes to the 78. Obviously the right changes because Martin Truex Jr. now up into the top 3.
And it's so hard to do at any racetrack, much less this one, is to improve the car throughout the race. You can unload the car. Typically from Friday to Sunday you might make some changes that help, but it's really hard to make the car faster in the middle of the race.
Martin Truex Jr. and that 78 team learning that their fate would definitely be changed as the 78. Barney Visser said we're closing down the shop at the end of 2018. Even though they won the championship last year, they decided that they've had enough. So the 78 team will close down its doors at the end of the year, putting Martin Truex Jr., Cole Pearn, and the entire team on a hunt to find out where they will land in 2019. Rumors have flown all over the place about driver and crew chief, but there's still a lot of crew members that need to find work out of that team. Kelly.
And I talked to Cole Pearn about that today and just kind of asked him how the mood has been around the shop, and he said, look, considering everything we're going through, it's actually been really good, and it continues to get better as time goes on because these guys are kind of figuring out what their futures will hold for them. They're figuring out their situations for next year. Not everyone is going to move back to Charlotte and join up with the race team. A lot of them will be staying in Denver, but he said the anxiety has lowered, and now everyone's really focused on going out with the championship for Barney Visser.
That's the one thing they've said is they want to, as a team, give Barney Visser another championship. Go out as high as you can possibly go out. I want to get a few updates on other drivers in the field, not just playoff drivers. Dave.
And Rick, let's talk about a few drivers who are changing teams next year. One of them, the driver of this 31, Ryan Newman, while his teammate Austin Dillon is having a good day, this 3-time Dover winner is not. They've been battling short run speed all weekend. And most recently, crew chief Luke Lambert tried to help his driver out. He said, hey, on the good side, the tires coming off the car have all looked good. Driver responded, that doesn't help me. Kelly.
Well, it was announced that Jamie McMurray would not be back in the one car. Right now, he's 1 lap down, but in the lucky dog position. Last week, he had a season-best finish. It was a runner-up at the Roval, and when I talked to him after the race, he told me these last remaining races this season, he's really been trying to take it all in and enjoy the moment a little bit more. I think this team had hoped they'd be a little bit better today. They were hoping for a top 10 finish. Another driver whose future a little bit uncertain is the 47, and A.J. Allmendinger announced that Ryan Preece would be joining with this team. This team saying that they've enjoyed their time with A.J. They feel like they exhausted all their resources in trying to make this team better. A.J. also had a great finish last week. It was a top 10 at the Roval. Right now he's saying he's pretty happy with this car, but a little bit too much movement through the rear on the 47, Marty.
Matt Kenseth was 2 laps down in 20th when he came to pit road. You see him leaving pit road, Kelly, in what might very well be his final Dover start. He told some of the media gathered here this weekend that he was here and he did not have a job for next year as of right now, and he likely would not pursue one. He said, I'm here in Dover. My girls are at home playing soccer, having dance recitals. I'm at a different stage in my life, so we may be witnessing the final few races of Matt Kenseth's career, guys.
Coming into this race, Chase Elliott, Larson, Almirola Bowman, those guys with a 4 outside of the cutoff. Well, right now, Larson, Elliott, Bowman are running 13th, 14th, and 15th. All the way up there in 6th place, Eric Almirola. That's what you got to do if you're one of those guys that's out of that top 8. You got to do what Eric Almirola is doing today. Go up in there and get those stage points. He's in position. As we only have 54 laps to go on this stage, he's in position to try to get some stage points here. Get himself into that top 8.
Jeff, the 9. Dave Burns mentioned how he had to start all the way at the tail of the field, doing a nice job up in the 14th position, but perhaps more importantly, past his teammate Alex Bowman. So now he's not the last car in the lead lap as Kevin Harvick continues to set an unbelievable pace.
He's definitely dominating today. That's Kevin Harvick. But we got to remember, they're coming to pit road here soon. Green flag pit stops from the Monster Mile. Those are coming up next.
Back at Dover, a lot of leaders coming to pit road at lap 189. Joey Logano among them. He said the car was very good, a little slow on the left side for the 22 team, Kelly.
You also see the 78 there of Martin Truex Jr. They got this car a little bit better after a chassis adjustment last time down pit road. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment. Meanwhile, the 4 of Kevin Harvick, the leader, has also made his way to pit road. He said as he runs, the car tends to get a little bit loose in the rear end. 4 tires and fuel for the Harvick.
Ryan Blaney having a solid top 10 run. He's on pit road as well, so the car started tight, but got the track bar back to neutral. That's good, much better at the end of the run, Dave. Also, Clint Boyer on pit road having a nice top 3 run for that team. He said the car was too free on entry early in that run. Mike Bugaravich with an air pressure adjustment, trying to tighten it up just a little bit, Dave.
All right, the 14 is gone. The 42 has been on pit road. The 41 has been on pit road. And now the 2 of Brad Keselowski coming down to his pit stall. Marty?
And guys, you see Brad Keselowski on pit road. He said his car a little bit too loose later in the run and back to loose a little bit on the exit of the end of the run as well. Air pressure and a wedge adjustment trying to tighten up the 2 car. There's that wedge adjustment, Dave.
2 free landing, tight center off, and I'm giving up my entry. Air pressure adjustments for Chase Elliott.
And again, green flag pit stops happening. The last time when there were green flag pit stops, Kevin Harvick had an 11-second lead in stage 1 before the green flag pit stop started. This time around, a 2-second lead Kevin Harvick had. So now, Kevin Harvick, a lot more pressure from his closest competition.
They know it too, they're racing hard. You saw him split Regan Smith right there.
Kyle Busch up front right now. He is yet to pit. We're taking advantage of pitting now on pit road. So that'll put the lead back in the hands of Kevin Harvick. Marty.
And here comes Kyle Busch finally down pit road. He kind of indicated that the track bar may not be working. They're going to check it, the team here, when he comes down pit road. He said it fires off tight and then absolutely no lateral grip here at the end of the run. He said it's like all 4 tires just chattering through the corner. You saw him lose all those spots. Green flag stop, so hoping they can gain a little track position here with the 18.
Well, he's definitely not going to gain track position by being the last car on pit road. Those new tires for all of the competitors, they've been running, Jeff, what, about a second, little over 1 second faster than the used tires. So the 18 of Kyle Busch, I'm not against the strategy. You never know when a yellow make came out. Tire issues are potential here at Dover. So Adam Stevens saying we're going to stay out a little bit longer, maybe get lucky. Plus, there's so much to go in the race. I mean, we're only 5 laps away from halfway still.
So the green flag pit stop cycle through. Harvick still has Boyer behind him. It's 2.3 second gap.
That Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's actually driven away from Kevin Harvick just a little bit. Now, we heard earlier, Rodney Childress told Kevin Harvick that after about 15, 20 laps, his car was much better than everybody else's. So let's see if Alex Bowman can stay in front of Kevin Harvick. 44 to go before this stage ends. But for Bowman, he has to run these like qualifying laps. Every lap he's got to go just like it's a Q lap. You never know when that caution's going to come out. So he's racing for his life right here.
Yeah, the next car in front of Bowman, once Ricky Stenhouse cycles the pit road, be Blaney and Larson. Those guys are, you know, with 40 laps to go, they're got to be concerned that Harvick could run them down.
So again, Harvick trying to put Bowman back a lap down. Bowman right on the tail end of the lead lap as Harvick continues to hunt.
We talk about pit stops. These playoff teams make them look so easy. Look at the choreography. Everyone has a role. Everyone has a job. Seamless here on this two of Brad Keselowski. Jackman comes around. Front tire changer misses him. So impressive, these teams making it look easy here at Dover.
Sunday Night Football has a Lone Star State showdown. Dak Prescott, the Cowboys, they visit Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Football Night in America, 7 Eastern. And kickoff at 8:20 p.m. tonight only on NBC. And of course, race car drivers, they love football. They've got an opinion on who might get the win tonight.
It's Sunday Night Football on NBC. It's an all-Texas showdown. My pick is Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. That Clemson quarterback's going to roll the Cowboys.
I'm looking forward to tuning into it and watching the Texans win the game.
I've always been an underdog fan, and it looks like the Texans are an underdog against the Cowboys, so I'm pulling for the Texans.
Does that surprise anyone that Bubba Wallace is a underdog fan?
No, but I was shocked we didn't get one Cowboys fan.
The last time the Texans beat the Cowboys was September 8, 2002. Jimmie Johnson was a rookie.
That's been a long time ago.
What?
Yeah.
You know these things?
I have these statistics in my head.
Ah.
I was ready for this.
Statistics in your head. But I think there's somebody who maybe refreshes those memories sometimes for you. Yeah. Maybe help out.
Well, I want to tell you something, guys. We're showing Kevin Harvick right here, but who is not in the picture is Alex Bowman. Because Alex Bowman has driven away from Kevin Harvick. Pretty impressive right here. Are we seeing Alex Bowman's car better, or are we seeing Kevin Harvick's car not as good? Boyer's run him down a little bit. Now it's a 1.7 second lead. He was over 2 seconds a little while ago, so is Harvick starting to have a little bit of issue?
Last lap on the track, Alex Bowman was the fastest car to 24.42. Leader Kevin Harvick's the 5th fastest car, so he hasn't slowed down much. I think that there's just so much changing throughout the run, and the balance of the cars change a lot. Seems like that this was what we saw from Bowman at the end of the last stage. His car comes on at the very end of the run.
All right, Junior, I'm going to say, yeah, that's great. He ran the fastest lap. But what can he do? I mean, he's in Right now he's the last car on the lead lap. He's running 16th. He's the furthest down in points, 19 below the cut line.
They got to figure
already.
out. He just ran the fastest lap again of the field. They got to figure out why it's taking so long for this car to come around and get this kind of speed. They need to move that speed toward the front of the run. Marty.
Hey guys, further checking in on this track bar issue for Kyle Busch, who was in 18th. Nate Bellows, who's the car chief, had the rear tire changer wear a GoPro on this last stop. They watched that footage and they confirmed with the team that the track bar is in the same exact spot. Kyle thought he was moving it. It's not moving for the 18. So again, they think the track bar not working. They cannot get a 100% diagnosis on that until they have a caution flag stop. But right now, they think it's not working. And Junior, you mentioned that could be big for the 18 for the rest of the race.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to hope that that thing's working a little bit so you at least have some adjustability on these long runs. Either way, if you can't see the readout on the digital dash, you know, you're going to be a little vulnerable on restarts because you don't know where the track bar is and how to set it for grip or set it to lock the back of the car down to take off and fire off on that one lap. But there's one guy that can figure it out. I mean, he's one of them. So there's some confidence and some comfort in knowing Kyle Busch is in the car doing that.
Go back and update you again on Chase Elliott. We've seen him climbing up through the field, had that penalty. He is now in 11th spot. And you're talking about Alex Bowman having a fast race car. Well, Chase Elliott over the last several laps has had the fastest car on the racetrack. So Chase Elliott and his team are continuing to make their car drive better, doing a great job driving up through the pack. He's got a shot. If he can get some track position, he's got a shot to win this thing.
Track position, track position, track position. Everyone wants it. Right now, only one has it, and that's Kevin Harvick. He's still maintaining that 2.3 second lead over second place Bowyer. Truex Jr. running third, then a couple more Fords with Logano, Kurt Busch, Almirola, and Keselowski in the top 7.
And look at this battle. Keep talking about Alex Bowman. Well, look who he's called. He's called Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson was one of our favorites. We thought he was going to be contending to win this race. Kevin Harvick behind him trying to put him a lap down. Alex Bowman trying to pass him as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a decision here. Dude, Kyle Larson was in my fantasy lineup. Are they going to get this thing dialed in 28 laps before the end of the stage, or am I going to have to make a change here?
Kyle Larson has been struggling over the last several laps. Obviously, we see that he's falls all the way back to the clutches of Alex Bowman. But if he doesn't do something quickly, he's going to lose this position, and he's going to go a lap down, Dave.
And Junior, remember, he took the Packers out of the front of that race car. They're trying to help him. They've worked on it a lot. This run, though, a lot more grip on exit, according to the driver just a couple of laps ago. And remember, he was confident, too, coming in. He told Kelly and count down to green, I think I have a second or third place car today, and we'll take that mulligan we got last week and roll with it, but it hasn't been that way. I wonder if the sun being out has anything to do with it, because the conditions today are so different than when this car was fast yesterday in practice.
I think the surprising thing is, coming in statistically, you know, Kyle Larson had more top 10s at this racetrack than any other racetrack. And today, only 9 laps that he has run in the top 10.
Yeah, look at that race car. It just looks like the front of that car isn't settled down into the racetrack. A lot of these guys had the splitter a little bit lower, it seems like, just looking at it from this vantage point. It's hard to tell. It looks high to me, Steve.
I was mentioning that to Burton earlier, that 42 does look high. We talk about that 18 and their track bar issues, and you mentioned the 88 and how they have to work on their car for different reasons. And basically, this is the reason. Welcome to Dover. Looking under yellow, the bottom of the racetrack completely clean. Look at it now. It almost looks asphalt. It's so dark. It doesn't even look concrete. And the reason that matters is because when it gets dark like it is on the right-hand side, like under green flag pit stops, that 88 is outstanding. The other issue is that 18 that Marty keeps reporting on about the track bar adjuster. When the track looks that much different, it takes a different setup. That's what every other driver in the field has, but Kyle Busch doesn't have the ability to move that track bar.
Look at this great battle right here. Bowman, the 42 of Larson, Harvick. Well, look who's behind. Here comes Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer has run Kevin Harvick down. This battle in front of Harvick is certainly helping Bowyer, but Bowyer has a fast race car and now has Harvick right in the front windshield. Marty.
Tell you what, a moment ago, Brett Griffin, the spotter for Clint Boyer, said, yeah, Harvick was able to roll easily that stage 1 win. He's not going to be able to get it so easy here in stage 2. Boyer's car better than Harvick a little bit on these longer runs. He's been very happy with it. A little bit too free. That's the only complaint. And these two duked it out for the win here in the spring. They're going to try and duke it out for the win again here in the fall.
Well, this battle in front of Harvick is really helping Boyer because this is taking all the air off of Harvick's car. It's really hurt his speed, but I don't think having Harvick's car is as good as it was early in the race. Kevin was able to get by Bowman much easier early. Right now he's struggling. Let's listen to Boyer's car.
Catching that forward pretty good here, brother. We got time.
Got plenty of time. 21 to go in this stage.
Yeah, Harvick can't do anything. He's sitting here behind the 88 and the 42, both running different lines, and he's not able to get any clean air on his car. And you see the difference that makes as the 14 closes down. I think if Harvick can get by these lap cars or these slower cars of Bowman and Larson, he'll be able to yard the 14 again.
The one thing we have not seen all day long, we've not seen the 14 of Clint Boyer leave the bottom of the racetrack. See where he is, pinned on the bottom. That's been his advantage. If Harvick goes back to the bottom, that's going to really hurt Clint Boyer.
And guys, remember this race for the 42. Never has he run in the top 5 at Talladega. He's trying to stay on the lead lap because he has to have points. Dover was supposed to be a great track for Kyle Larson. Instead, he's fighting to stay on the lead lap as we go. NASCAR nonstop. Kevin Harvick continues to lead.
You're watching the Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400.
We talk about how the rubber builds up on the racetrack, and when that happens, it just takes away the grip driving in on the bottom of the racetrack. Look at this 88 right here. He's going to drive in and a big slide up. Does a nice job of catching it and he's able to get the power down, but he had my attention. I wasn't sure how far that slide was going with Kyle Larson on the outside. There was only so much room to go.
Well, it's not going to get better here, is it, Junior, with all this traffic?
Oh, look at this.
Harvick's had enough.
He's tired of following the 88. Got right up on his back bumper. Don't know if he made contact, but he definitely made the 88 loose.
We talked about this, Jeff. Kevin Harvick is he is going to try to beat you every lap of every race.
Look at how close this is.
He just gets in there pretty good. I don't know if he hit him or not. Probably gave him a little bit. We'll see right here. It's loose. It's going to make him loose as is, just getting close.
Down him, I told you out of the way.
That was fair. That's just rubbing.
Rubbin's racing.
Rubbin is racing. That's what Kevin Harvick just did.
As long as you don't put me in the fence, I don't mind.
Yeah, just Alex Bowman. He throw that away, though. Pull that up when he needs it.
That's right.
Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Hey guys, Clint Boyer in second right now. He has one stage win this year. You think he wants this playoff point that is right in front of him, but here's the problem, Jeff. This car is free on entry. You know how hard it is to be aggressive here at Dover when your car is free on entry like that.
Yeah, it's so hard to carry speed because you have to protect the back of the car. You can't just turn the wheel. If you overdrive the entry at all, then you're really, really backtracking with the wheel. So free on entry here, or anywhere for that matter, but here especially, it's so fast, it's hard to make that work.
And the 18, Kyle Busch, trying to get by the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Again, the struggles of the 18. Track bar adjuster, not sure. He doesn't have display on the digital dashboard anymore. Not sure where it is, where that track bar is as he tries to move it.
Yeah, if he gets a top 10 or even a top 5 out of this, top 5, you got to be real happy considering not having that tool in your pocket like the rest of the field. A place like this that changes so much between restarts and the beginning of a run and the end of a run. It changes so much. You're going to need that track bar adjuster, and he doesn't. We don't know if he has it or not. It's a great battle right here between Kurt Busch and Almirola. Almirola taking a position from Kurt.
All 4 of Stewart Haas cars are in the top 6.
More importantly, Almirola is doing what he needs to do to set himself apart from the other 4 guys that were out of the top 8 in points coming into this race. And there's the points on the left as is.
Yeah, 1 point now. 1 point out.
Last week, worked his guts out just to make it into this round. Today, he's showing out. A great top 5 run right now. And I mean, he's got more. If he can continue this march through the field, might see him up in the top 3, maybe even battling for the win.
We've seen it before out of Eric Almirola, Dave.
Yep, and they knew they were going to be good coming into today. Why? You know that shifter you circled earlier? We see it again in the shot on the left-hand side there. High-frequency bump tracks. Okay, there are a couple. Bristol and here. Eric's done well at both of them, and they expected to run well here today.
So Kevin Harvick has caught Austin Dillon. See Austin Dillon in that 3 car. Only 3 to go, though. I don't think that he can get to him, but if you were to get to him and put him a lap down, that would take Alex Bowman away from that 3-pass position. Austin Dillon and his team having a pretty good run today.
Yeah.
They didn't advance to this round of the playoffs. They're running 13th.
Just 3 laps to go, guys. Actually, now 2 to go as Harvick just crossed the start-finish line. So that closes pit road. 2 laps to go before the end of the stage.
I'm going to tell you, Harvick ate him up in that corner. Look how much ground he made up on him. I didn't think there was a chance he could get to him, but Austin's going to have to be perfect here.
Austin Dillon, a Daytona 500 winner to start off the season. Eliminated after the first round of the playoffs. Now trying to stay on the lead lap. He'll have to do it for just under a mile if he can hang on to this position. You see a little wiggle there out of Kevin Harvick. Harvick doing what he did in the spring at this racetrack where he swept both stages. Now he's looking to sweep stage 1 and 2 out of turn 4. He'll see the green and white checkered flag. He wins stage 2.
It's starting to get loose into 1. Pretty much loose to the center in both corners, long in the run.
So there's that information that the crew chief, Rodney Childers, is waiting on as Harvick slows it back down. His 14th stage win. Kevin Harvick trying to repeat what he did earlier this year, potentially sweeping Dover, not only the race, but every stage as he's won stage 1 and 2 already. And the fans on their feet getting ready to watch some pit stops take place after stage 2 is now complete. Cars will be making their way onto pit road, and we'll go there as well. Kelly.
We heard Kevin Harvick say that the 4 car was just getting a little bit too loose, getting to the center of the corners on both ends of the racetrack. They are going back on a previous wedge adjustment. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Meanwhile, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. pitting from the 3rd position. He said he was just getting way too free at the end of the run. He's losing grip in the right front. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Kelly, bottom of your screen, Clint Boyer says the free on entry was better on that run. His biggest issue now, he needs more turn, 3/4 mark through the center of the corner. So right side tires here and left side tires as well. 4 Goodyear tires for Clint Boyer. A very small air pressure adjustment on the right front tire, and that is it. Kevin Harvick will hold serve and win the race off pit road.
Pretty close, though, as Clint Boyer was able to sneak out there of his pit stall and almost take him. But it's Harvick, Boyer, Truex Jr. all holding their positions. Almirola gains 1, Logano loses 1. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Sonic's Car Hop Classic. Get a quarter-pound double cheeseburger or a Slinger Plus Tots for just $2.99. Credit One Bank, the credit card perfect for everyday purchases. And by Gander Outdoors, warehouse pricing on everything outdoors, including RVs.
After the race here at Dover, don't forget to join us for the post-race show, NASCAR America post-race show presented by Honda Power Sports. We are sitting high atop Victory Lane, and following our post-race show, Victory Lap. Send in your questions using the hashtag Victory Lap, and yours may appear on air. Yeah, that's where we'll be. Such a great view. We actually can look down into Victory Lane. You will join us for the post-race show. But a couple of the things we talked about on the pre-race show, Kyle Petty picking Kevin Harvick to win. That is looking very good right now as he has swept both of the stages. And then DJ talked about the fact that other drivers, non-playoff drivers, could play a factor. Denny Hamlin is currently in the top 10, just gained a position on that pit stop. So we'll have to see if any of those are the storylines that we're talking about. And Rick, don't forget NASCAR America at 5 p.m. weekdays.
Absolutely, I will remember that, Krista. Now, one of the things that Kyle Larson has to remember, don't speed on pit road. That is actually his first speeding penalty of the year, but it happened in stage or section 1 getting onto pit road, so just a little too aggressive coming to pit road. And this is going to make it very difficult for him to get back into that free pass position because he's one of many right now, 5 that are a lap down. Marty?
And Rick, let's follow up on the 18 situation. We told you they needed a caution flag pit stop to be able to figure out what was going on. You'll see Wesley Lape kind of come in there. What about that move, the ninja move to get inside the car? He's one of the smallest guys on the team. He wanted to confirm that, number one, it did not become disconnected, but number two, the track bar is indeed working for Kyle Busch. He thought for a while it was not, but it's working just fine.
Bo and Luke Duke is what that reminded me of, watching him jump into that car right there. Well, I would say giddy up, but here we go for the field approaching the Geico restart zone. Kevin Harvick on the outside. Clint Boyer on the inside. A great restart for Harvick.
Great launch. That outside's going to prevail for the first time, I think, all weekend.
Clinton just guessed a little bit wrong. He thought Harvick was going to go. He started accelerating. Harvick slowed up. That messed up Clint's. Really just messed up the timing of that. Now he's back to third.
Oh, yeah. And
Stewart
4
Haas.
SHR cars, 1 through 4.
Yeah, pretty impressive right now.
Yeah.
Harvick, Almirola, Boyer, and Truex Jr. scored 4th. Kurt Busch now up to 4th, and Keselowski is in the 5th position. Truex Jr. all the way down to 6th.
I was talking about Eric Almirola having moved up to 5th earlier in the second stage. Now he's in 2nd. See if he has the kind of speed as we go further into this run to be able to compete with his teammate. Maybe battle for this win. Be incredible for Eric to lock his way into the next round in the first race at Dover. What a surprise that would be.
Eric Almirola coming in was below the cutoff line. Again, only the top 8 in points will advance, and any of those out of the playoffs that win in this second round. You see the points on the left side of the screen, and with this run that Eric Almirola is putting together, now he's just 2 points behind the cut line.
Yeah, it's a great story. I remember when they came so close to Chicago, had such a great race car. At a couple racetracks the second half of this season, they have had opportunities to win races and haven't capitalized or haven't had issues that have kept them from capitalizing.
Eric Almirola really, I think, has come into these playoffs as a sleeper for the title.
Well,
but as we continue to keep going, he's not so much a sleeper anymore if he's showing this kind of strength.
He's the only one with the organization that hasn't won a race, so there's a little pressure there. But his teammates around him having success and winning, he wants to win as well. First year with this organization, he wants to show them that they made the right choice to hire him here.
And Junior, he's won at this racetrack before. His first Truck Series win was here in Dover, so he's had some success here.
From Valparaiso, Florida, was born at an Air Force base, which, by the way, there's one just about a mile away from here. Born at Eglin Air Force Base in Valparaiso, Florida.
You guys are mentioning Stewart Haas Racing 1 through 4, and that's impressive, but I'm going to have to take it one step larger and talk about the Blue Oval. Ford, currently 1 through 6 when you talk about Team Penske in there as well, and Keselowski 5th, Logano 6th, Blaney in 8th, 7 Fords in the top 8. Whatever they are working on, or whatever package Ford has provided for their cars, whether it's simulation or aerodynamics, it's totaling the right stuff here so far today.
And think about the odds of Ford winning the championship now. They have 7 of the 12 drivers are Ford drivers in this championship hunt.
I thought you were going to do that quick math and tell me the exact odds.
I'm not going to do that quick.
I couldn't do it.
It's better than 50% though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like it. I'm with you.
And really shocking to me is that Joe Gibbs Racing.
I know.
One person in these playoffs. That's just shocking to me. And Kyle Busch struggling today, just not having the kind of run. Really, all of the team struggled this entire weekend.
Here's a guy who's moved up into the top 10. Had a little bit better day after sort of being invisible for the first 2 stages. Ryan Blaney up in 7th place. Right now, +3 to the good on the cutoff for the title, for the chase, the playoffs. I'll get it right. Gets close to the fence off of turn 4. But he knows it's important for him and his team to capitalize on every opportunity, every position. Can't depend on those wins to get yourself into the next round. He needs a great finish today, and they haven't been one of the better teams today as far as the playoff cars, so it's good to see him up in the 7th place. Running some pretty good laps, 5th fastest that last time by.
And Junior, they know they have to capitalize here at Dover. Not one of their best racetracks in this round. Very good at Talladega, and they think Kansas, one of their best overall racetracks. They have been scratching and clawing to get back into the top 10. They had a fitting break on the rear changing gun a couple of stops ago. Had to recover from that, but a nice recovery here for Ryan Blaney off the win at the Roval, running 7th right now.
Well, Marty, you mentioned recovery. I'm going to go to a car that looks a lot like this 12 on the racetrack, the same sort of white and blue paint scheme, and that's the 42 of Kyle Larson. Speeding on this last pit stop, went to the back of the field completely, worked his way. He's fighting to get back to the free pass position. The 2 cars he's looking for is the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse, the 19 of Daniel Suarez. As Larson goes inside the 37 of Buescher, currently 17th, looking for 15th, and they're right up ahead of him. Passed a lot of cars already, Jeff. He has to work his way back into position, try to get back in the lead lap. Remember, still 141 to go. A lot can happen here in the first race of the round of 12.
Already on this run, 12 laps into this final stage from the Monster Mile. And again, we know that green flag pit stops are going to happen before we see the checkered flag on this race.
Surely,
so surely
we're going to get some yellows, right? I mean, this
You're
first
call
stage,
for it?
well, yes, absolutely. It's not going to run green. That first stage is the first ever first stage since stage racing existed that this has gone green. There's no way this race is going to go green completely. The pressure is going to start to build. These guys back here, Kyle Busch, Bowman, Larson, patience. Patience are going to run out as we get close to the finish.
Well, we talk a lot about everybody up front. Well, everybody's battling it all over the racetrack. These 2 guys running through the back. A.J. Allmendinger upset it 7 times.
Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Dover, continuing with 134 laps to go. This is the first race of the second round of the playoffs. You can get 10 extra chances to win a fan-built Chevy, Ford, or Toyota truck when you use the promo code ROUND-OF-12, which we are in. Go to NASCAR.com/playoffs promo and enter promo code ROUND-OF-12 to get your bonus entries. So dominant at this racetrack, and once again we are seeing it in 2018. It's definitely the year of Harvick. You look at Dover in May, finished both stage 1 and stage 2 up front. He had led only 201 laps. I say only 201, that's over half of the laps. Finished the race first. Already he's led 234. Now remember, there was a little inspiration in May because Keelan had said, Dad, I'd really like that Miles the Monster trophy in my room. So he went out and won. Well, guess what? Piper now is a part of the Harvick family, so he probably needs a second trophy.
There's a heck of a battle on the racetrack right here. Joe Logano, he's got a lot of guys breathing. Look at Chase Elliott, who's working his way back from a penalty, trying to get by Truex. It's going to be tough to do on the bottom. Blaney right in the middle of all that. He's trying to get ahead of his teammate Joe Logano. All these guys trying to capitalize on each other as they're moving around, trying to get clean air. Truex to the middle. Wants to get on the quarter panel of that 12 car. Pinch him up, make him run low on the corner. There, see that? That's what he wanted. Has to, basically, Blaney can't use the throttle when he's in that position. Truex has a spot.
Textbook pass there by Martin Truex Jr.?
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty good. It's a little weird, but I don't know if...
you would call it textbook?
Oh, yeah. Now he's going to try the same thing on the 22. He's trying to roll that middle. Joey, he's a guy who's getting a lot of information from his spotter about where these guys are running. Be interesting to see if Joey tries to move to the middle here. Try to take that line away from the 78.
When you look at the points, you have Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, and Chase Elliott all separated by 2 points. Well, if Chase can get up there.
Yeah, these are really important.
Yeah, challenge Blaney.
128 to go. I mean, this could be positions that matter. He gets on the quarter panel of the 22. He's going to be able to take that spot down the back straightaway. Nothing Joey can do about it once Semi gets to the outside. Marty.
Junior, fun little battle to watch here. And you mentioned something earlier with Joey Logano and his spotter, TJ Majors. Joey said the car turning better, just needs more overall grip. But you're exactly right. I've heard TJ Majors talk more today. It's almost like they are at Talladega next week. TJ talking every lap, walking Joey through the laps here at Dover.
Yeah, TJ told me that was the toughest part. Look at that. Wow. Sorry, look at that move for Blaney.
You see Blaney there?
Yeah.
Yes. How about here comes Chase Elliott. Watch what the points will do if Chase Elliott can get by Ryan Blaney. This will be a 2-point swing if Chase Elliott is able to clear the 12.
These guys are good friends, but they're going to race each other really hard on the racetrack. They've ran around each other a lot in their careers. No quarters given. They know to push each other hard. They know it's okay. Trust each other to race clean. But they know what's important.
It's interesting how they both want the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, sideways for Elliott.
Way loose.
Yeah.
That started in the middle of the corner, just trying to carry speed, lost the front end while accelerating, then the back just couldn't keep up.
And you have to be concerned what that does to the right rear tire, the balance of that car for a couple laps. He'll have to try to figure a way to get back into his rhythm.
He's trying to carry speed, hoping to get underneath that 12 car. Back of the car just would not stick.
And you see, here's Blaney coming up off the corner. Ross Chastain on the outside. He's up. He's like, hey, Ross, come on. Let me have the spot here, man.
He jumps up behind him. Yeah, he jumps up behind him. I
think he was trying to keep the 9 from getting on his quarter panel.
That was just a little odd because the 9 couldn't have gotten there anyway.
Mirror racing a little bit. We talk about a super speedway.
I'm telling you, Blaney's just a little frustrated with Ross. That's all that was. Blaney gets pretty hot inside the car. Hot under the collar, but just showing his frustrations a little bit. Dave.
And Junior, I think what you're seeing out of Chase Elliott again today is just how much this playoff format suits this driver. If you add up the races from last year and the playoff races in this year, only Truex and Keselowski have better average finishes than Chase Elliott. It's the right system for the right driver.
As we watch this great battle right here between Elliott and Blaney for the 8th position. Right behind them, the 11 and Denny Hamlin currently running 10th. We said so much about Jimmie Johnson and him with this season. He didn't even get to start the race without a mechanical issue. The 11 and Denny Hamlin, 12 consecutive years he's won a race. Every full-time year of his career, he has gone to victory lane. Currently in his 13th season, winless so far, eliminated from the playoffs. Jimmie Johnson, Denny Hamlin, both names are 2 veteran drivers that I think a win would mean a lot to. Kelly?
Yeah, it definitely would mean a lot to this team to close out the season with a win. But when I talked to Mike Wheeler, the crew chief on that team, he said first they really just need to get their performance up as a whole. He said we've had moments of greatness throughout this season. They even feel like they've had cars that are capable of finishing in the top 3. They just haven't been able to close out a race, and he said a big part of that, they haven't been able to find the field that Denny's looking for. So these remaining races this season, they really want Denny to be able to find something he's comfortable with these cars, the way they respond to the tires as well.
I'm telling you, I mean, when someone like Kevin Harvick wins 25% of the races, It's just not a lot of races to go around, Rick.
His nickname used to be the closer. I don't know if you can call him the closer anymore. When you lead virtually all the laps, Kevin Harvick still out front here at Dover. You're watching the Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400 from Dover International Speedway, the second race here at this track this year. The first race won by Kevin Harvick in dominating fashion when he won stage 1, stage 2, and the race. Now, Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch. 4 Stewart-Haas drivers, all 4 still in the playoffs, and all 4 running in the top 4.
Yeah, the most interesting battle right now is this place here, right here for second place. Almirola, Clint Boyers, they work through traffic. Clint sees some opportunities, gets pretty close, but as soon as Almirola gets clear, he's able to maintain good speed, keep that position.
I think Clint's car is really good on a very long run, but it takes all of the run, Steve, to get him where he really needs to be. He's going to have to find some takeoff speed.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I mentioned before, I believe we're going to see some yellows here in the last 100 laps of this race, and that's when takeoff speed is going to be the most important, Marty.
And that's exactly right on the 14. They've been better on the longer run. It takes a while for that car to come in. His biggest issue on the last run, a little bit of turn from the center of the corner off. But it's interesting to me, Jeff, with these 4 Stewart-Haas cars running 1 through 4, I think you play the game a little bit differently with your teammate up there. Even though they're in the playoffs, even though that's a guy who could take you out of the round of 8, you play things a little more gingerly with teammates involved.
Marty, I don't know about that. I think that the game has changed. With the playoffs the way they are now, coming off of the Roval last week where we saw how 1 point can matter, I don't know that you can play that like that anymore. I think you've got to be aggressive with everyone. Now, you can cross the line and cause all kinds of trouble, but at the end of the day, you're here to drive for you and your team. Yes, the whole group can work together great, but I don't think that all 4 Stewart-Haas cars are going to go to Homestead with a chance to win a championship. You want to be one of those that is. So I understand you got to respect your teammates, but man, you got to go when you can. So we saw Clint Boyer all over Amarola. Well, this is one of the reasons why Eric got held up big time, too wide in front of him and nowhere to go. And Clint Boyer, look at this run Clint got. That's how much Amarola got held up.
Listen, there's a question about how teammates are going to race in the playoffs. I think Kevin Harvick answered this question right here in Chicago. This was coming to the end of the stage. He drove around the outside of the 41, getting the 41 loose, wins the stage. Kurt Busch, furious on the radio. Couldn't believe his teammate put him in that position. Kevin Harvick, champion. Both the champions in the sport. Kevin Harvick says, man, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm here to race. I'm here to race for me. I know they both drive for Stewart-Haas Racing, but Kevin Harvick has a sponsor. He has a team. He has teammates on that 4 that he has to look out for. I think it's the same between the 10 and the 14. At this point in the playoffs, Jeff, every point is so valuable. I don't think you can be nice.
So I'd rather be in a meeting with my teammate that's upset at me because not wrecking him, I'm not saying wreck, but that I race him harder than he wanted to be raced, and I would be in a meeting with my crew chief saying, we missed the playoffs, the next round of playoffs by 1 point, dude. I'd rather be in that first meeting than the second one.
And Jeff, remember, every stage win, you get a playoff point, and that 1 point can matter. And we've seen how much it matters after round 1.
Hey, Rick, keep this in mind when you look at Stewart-Haas Racing. Old man, Tony Gibson. He's now back home in charge of all 4 of these race cars and keeping things together. Remember, he's not that far removed from the track. Tony, a longtime crew chief in this series. Johnny Klausmeyer, Eric Almirola's crew chief this morning, gave huge credit to Gibson for keeping this group together, keeping them all fast, and the boys and the girls back at the shop are really doing their jobs for this team.
He fought some health issues too, old man Tony Gibson, earlier this year, and they're lucky to have someone with his experience back in the shop preparing all these cars, and it's showing the talent that they have behind the wheel and the equipment that they have. It has risen to the top, especially here at Dover, where they're running 1 through 4.
I'm most impressed with Eric Almirola this year because we saw Clint Boyer join this program, and it took about 12 to 16 months for them to really gel and get to where they could run competitively like they do today. Eric's done it this year, and so got to give those guys a hand on the 10 car, the driver, the crew chief, the whole team for really coming together and gelling so well in this first season together.
And again, right behind Eric Almirola is the 14 of Clint Boyer, and everybody loves a great underdog story, right? So Clint Boyer, when Clint Boyer got called to go race for Richard Childress Racing, he was actually working at Emporia Motors in the service department in Emporia, Kansas. Well, it's now called Clint Boyer Autoplex. Kelly.
A little bit of trouble here for Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. He has said something hasn't felt right for a few laps, and now he thought he had a loose wheel, and at first Mike Wheeler told him to try to hang on if he can't, but you see he dives down to pit road now, so they're going to bring him in and change all 4 tires, but it was the right front he feels like is loose.
Only 54 laps, Steve. Will you see the rest of the field come with this?
Well, I was trying to figure out if they were going to try to do this on 1 stop or 2. Denny Hamlin is now going to be forced to make 2 stops with 98 to go. He can't make it on fuel. I think the advantage the field has is Denny Hamlin, he's a non-playoff car. So I think this is the point of the race where you have to understand who you're racing. He was only barely inside the top 10 as we see the 10 and the 14 side by side down the backstretch. So I don't think the rest of the field is going to give too much attention to the 11 and Denny Hamlin. They're going to stay on the racetrack for probably 20 to 25 more laps.
That was second. Clint Boyer took second away from Almirola. Harvick still has a 4.3 second lead now over Clint Boyer.
So remember we updated you on Kyle Larson. He had his troubles and got a lap down, and we kept thinking he was going to be able to charge back to the field and maybe race to be that first car 1 lap down, but quite frankly, he's gone nowhere. He is a lap down right now, running behind Suarez, running behind Stenhouse. And Kevin Harvick is quickly gaining on him to put him 2 laps down.
Larson's about a half a second off the leader. And there's the distance. See Larson on the left. Leader on the right.
We're going to go NASCAR nonstop. Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Dover International Speedway. And I want to take a look at today's Ram trucks proven to last.
Well, I mean, listen, can anyone beat Harvick? We've been at Dover. This was the second race. We've seen 4 stages. He's won all 4 of those. 1 race finish. He's won that. And currently has led 278 laps today.
And the bottom 4 playoff drivers, can they rally? Can they find a way? They have, you know, a lot of guys in the playoffs not running horrible, but everybody's running well, so a decent run may not be good enough today.
And we'll be getting late cautions that might change the strategy and complexity of this race, as Kevin Harvick has dominated it pretty much from the drop the green flag. Speaking of yellows, we almost had one. The 17 car, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., had a little problem getting into the fence there. Wonder if he got a right rear tire or a tire coming apart. We'll see. No, he just got in there, I think, a little too hard.
Check up,
hard to tell. I think he is having a tire issue there. He comes to pit road.
And listen, all I can say is for years, that perhaps was a yellow. And everybody's arms would go up. Man, that should have been a yellow, Marty. He barely touched the wall. Well, in the last 18 months or so, this NASCAR group has been very consistent with the yellows. They only throw them when there's an absolute guaranteed reason.
And Steve, issues for Clint Boyer with 86 to go here. He made contact on the racetrack with someone. He said once he made that contact, the car has gotten extremely tight. The right side of the car, Brett Griffin, the spotter, looking at it. Boyer said he thought the contact was on the right rear. Griffin said, I think it's on the right front. But since that moment, the car's gotten extremely tight, and you saw him lose second spot there on the 14.
Yeah, I saw him lose second, but Almirola jumped up to the top, and when Almirola jumped up to the top, he gained a lot of speed. So I know Clint's feeling what he's feeling. There's no doubt. I thought it was more Almirola jumping up to the top.
Here's that pass on the top. That's exactly right. You know, Almirola just went up there and found some more speed. We'll see how long that lasts for him. Sometimes you can jump up there and it'll work for a few laps, and then look here, he's pinned behind some lap cars. One of the toughest guys to pass, Ryan Newman. He finally gets by.
Okay, look, we don't have to call him one of anymore. I think I'm willing to say he is the toughest.
I meant in all of NASCAR ever. He's one of the toughest.
All of NASCAR ever. Well, one thing that's definitely going to happen here soon is green flag pit stops, because Steve, now we're getting into only 83 laps to go. They've been out there for 70 laps. The tires obviously wearing very heavily onto this racetrack. So when do you make that choice? When do you make that call of coming to pit road?
Well, pay window's open. If anybody wants to come to pit road, they can make it to the finish. It's that same balance. I think, you know, pitting right now would be an advantage for lap time, but you mentioned the tires and the tire wear, and you know, what is the probability? Hasn't really changed. I feel like we're back at the casino. The roulette wheel's been on red all day. It's finally going to spin black at some point. Well, when is the yellow going to come out? That's what the crew chiefs are going to have to bet against. That's a tough call. I expect them to maybe run a little bit longer into this run because they just got to feel like a yellow's coming.
Well, Kyle Busch is ready for the yellow to come out right now. There's Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick right behind him. Car's on pit road, Marty.
And how about Ryan Blaney being the first of those cars to come down pit road, lap 319, 81 to go here for the 12 car. He said the car starts off loose, then gets tight pretty quickly, and at the end of the run, he said the car was, quote, awful, just hanging right around that cut line right now, Kelly.
Martin Truex Jr. in the 78 has also come in. He's struggled with the 78 this last run. He said the car was bouncing a lot and just didn't feel right. He said it's worse than it's been most of the day, so it's 4 tires than fuel for the 78, Dave.
Here comes Eric Almirola. They've had such a good day so far. Can they put it all together? His car has worked well on the low side. His car has worked very well on the high side. This stop, he doesn't really need much done to it. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Brad Keselowski on pit road. He said the car is very free early in the run on initial throttle, and then the front falls off the longer they run. Bottom of that screen, Clint Boyer had said the car was too loose at the beginning of the run, and then after that contact, he said the car way too tight. He also has a little left rear damage on that 14 as well, and there you see that right rear damage that Boyer was talking about. Said the car got tight after he made that contact.
Race leader Kevin Harvick on pit road. And while he's on pit road, that means Kyle Busch has taken over the lead as he's staying out. Marty.
And guys, for Alex Bowman, as we see Kevin Harvick leading pit road, it's been a tough day for this team, but they have managed to be able to keep themselves close to that last car on the lead lap. Bowman just says the car is way too free, especially early in the run and on entry. That's been a big struggle, Kelly.
Kelly, what's going on with the 4?
Yeah, he's coming back to pit road. They're calling for left side tires, so I'm guessing Harvick feels like he's got a loose wheel there on the 4, so they're going to go ahead and change out these left side tires and top them off with Sunoco fuel. This is exactly what the 4 team did not need.
What a huge bake for the rest of the field, but a crushing blow for the 4.
Marty.
You see Kevin Harvick coming down pit road, Kyle Busch leaving pit road. He said the car just... There you go, Rodney Childers saying they knocked the valve stem off, so that was a problem on the left side there. Kyle Busch, meanwhile, saying his car just loses grip the longer they run, almost like they have the rear locked down so well that the front won't work and no turn at all in that 18.
Speeding for the 18 team when they came to pit road, so they'll have to come and serve that penalty. Mistakes, definitely something that you don't want to see, but mistakes could keep you out of a championship hunt.
That's major developments for two of the big 3, right? Kevin Harvick dominating this race, knocks the valve stem out. Going to have to pit again. Kyle Busch being penalized, going to have to pit again. Big mistakes.
Well, let's talk about that valve stem. Really focus on the rear tire changer. He's hitting lug nuts, the tire. See that? Drag drops. That's Kevin Harvick's signal. He thinks they're done. He leaves as he goes to hit lug nuts and that tire starts to spin. Very easy to hit that valve stem. Your one at home is rubber. But these on these cars, because the heat has to be steel, you hit it with the air gun, knocks it off, instant flat tire, Kelly.
Yeah, and I just confirmed with the team, Steve, it was a broken valve stem, but the team now trying to be encouraging with Kevin Harvick, telling him we can rebound, just recover, get back in your rhythm.
He has a great car, but an extra trip down pit road, that costs you 35 to 40 seconds.
Well, he's not on the lead lap. On the outside, guys, that one car, that's the guy he's racing, Jamie McMurray. He was the first car lap down. Actually, now it's cycled back around. Kyle Busch is going to be the first car lap down. But Jamie McMurray is the guy that Harvick's got to get by.
He's past the 1 now, and he'll set his sights on the 18 to potentially get into the free pass position. A huge change of the story of this race. When Kevin Harvick was dominant, now he's looking for a way to get to the free pass position, and he's going to need a caution if he wants another shot at this win.
There's 73 laps to go. This has cycled Eric Almirola into the lead with his teammate Clint Boyer in second.
So is this the day?
Yeah.
Is this the day that
That's
Eric
where I was going.
Yes.
Could it happen? Well, he's been in the position before. Can he close it out? 148 races since his only Monster Energy Series win. Again, that was a win back at Daytona. It was rain shortened. Eric Almirola leading at the Monster Mile. Crazy things have happened here at Dover. Well, how about next week? Talladega, that's next Sunday. That race coverage beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Always a thrilling race when you go to the largest track that NASCAR runs. Dave.
Kyle Larson was just on and off pit road there, and I don't know if you guys see anything in the way of debris entering the pits there, but they lobbied hard for it, something maybe as big as an axle out there. I didn't see that, and neither did NASCAR. They race on, and Kyle lost a lap coming to pit road.
Try everything, right, Steve?
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like the eyesight of the drivers that need a yellow are much better for debris than the ones that are leaving the race. It's just, I've been on both sides of that. My eyesight has improved when I was needing a yellow. Seeing every piece of tape turned into something that we definitely need to clean the track for.
I like the axle, though. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Somebody would definitely know that they're missing an axle, too, by the way. Almirola out front. He has a 1.6-second lead over teammate Clint Boyer. Then it's Martin Truex Jr., Kurt Busch, and Brad Keselowski in the top 5.
Almirola, you do not want to see a yellow flag, and every single lap that clicks by seems like it takes forever with 63 laps to go, knowing that they can make it all the way to the finish without having to pit another time, knowing that he has enough race car and enough speed to outrun his teammate Clint Boyer as it stands.
And think about last week, the work that this 10 car put into the Roval to make sure they were still in the playoffs here. I mean, yeah, that race was just daunting in front of everybody. You just mentioned Talladega coming up next week, Rick. Well, that one's been almost off the radar with the Charlotte Road Course. Now that it's over, the new talk is about Talladega.
And let's get a few updates as there are just 62 laps to go. We start with Dave.
Well, Rick, listen to Eric's quote before the caution came out right here, Rick.
So we do have a caution for debris.
And somebody had good vision. They saw it. Debris on the racetrack.
Big break for Kevin Harvick. There's the debris.
That's part of
some
the tire.
Yeah, some tire. Back straight away. So this will give Kevin Harvick the wave around. There's that axle.
It is an axle.
Telling the truth.
Sure enough.
I'll be darned. So
Kyle Larson, I owe you an apology if you saw that axle.
Someone is missing an axle.
How does, I mean, they just popped. I mean, would they throw it out the window? Where'd that thing come
I think
from?
you and I have been around so long, we just know not to
two
believe
weeks
them.
in a row. Hey,
that's right. An axle has come out.
2 weeks in a row, we've seen axles come out of race cars.
I mean, holy smokes.
Saw it at the Roval in Charlotte, and now we see it here at the Monster Mile. Well, Junior, you mentioned this racetrack is tough on equipment. How about that?
That's right. I'm not making it up.
20 laps on their tires. I don't doubt they're all coming to pit road, but does anybody take rights? Yesterday, was that Brandon Jones gamble with rights at the end of that race? And he didn't win the race, but he kept on his track position pretty good. So I don't know about the playoff guys gambling, but what about Denny Hamlin in 7th? Eric Jones 10th, Austin Dillon 11th. You know, Denny Hamlin's winless. Would he gamble? He's out of the playoffs.
Well, I'll go a step further. Even on Friday's race in the K&N Series, they run the Goodyear radial tire also, and I saw a car not pit at all and have a good finish. So, yeah, these teams pay attention to that. Somebody should gamble. We weren't on that long of a run right here.
And Kevin Harvick, he's going to get that free pass, so 60 to go. Is that enough? Can he drive through the field in 60 laps? I don't know. He was good.
Well, the problem is the free pass is going to start at the back. You know, he's got to start at the back, the tail end, the longest line.
There's a replay of the axle coming out of Ross Chastain's car.
Oh, it's on the racetrack bouncing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blaney
Smokes.
about got hit by it.
Unreal.
Woo.
Sorry, Kyle.
I know.
We didn't believe you, but we're sorry.
I mean, you got to understand, you see our skepticism when he says axle.
Yeah,
it was actually Chad Johnston. He had a little help, and Chad was reporting it.
Okay.
I feel like, who makes that up? I can understand metal or debris, just saying debris.
All right. And race leader Eric Almirola leading him onto pit road, Kelly.
But first up, the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He said that the ride on the 78 was a little bit rougher than usual. He's free everywhere, tight in a few spots. It's 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for the 78. Dave?
Eric Almirola likes the way his car is handling, so this should be pretty efficient in terms of adjustments, perhaps none, just air pressure
4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. This crew has been good among the Stewart-Haas Racing crews. Marty?
Dave, they told Clint Boyer the pay window is open. Let's go get it. They said the damage on the right side has made the car much tighter. Boyer saying he's up 3 inches on the track bar. You saw the right side wedge adjustment, also a left rear tire air pressure adjustment. Brad Keselowski, Paul Wolfe making the call for 2 tires. There you go. They get the lead off pit road.
The gamble, will it pay off? Brad Keselowski gains 4 positions, but just a 2-tire stop. Will 4 tires dominate on the restart? We'll see it next. You're watching the Monster Energy Cup Series Gander Outdoors 400. And the gamble by Brad Keselowski, a 2-tire stop, will put him in front of the 10. One of the problems with pit road, when you have to come to pit road, you've got to stay under the speed limit. And already the big 3 have shown us with the wheel issue for the 4, speeding for the 18. Well, guess what? Martin Truex Jr. speeding on pit road. Take a look.
There he is coming on to pit road. Crosses that line. You see him catching the guys in front of him.
Pit road speed is slow here,
well,
too,
he
right?
also got such a short distance to his box, and so he's trying to take advantage of his pit situation where his box is located on pit road, and he got a little greedy there.
It's hard, though, 35 miles per hour. I mean, at most racetracks, we don't see it that slow.
So, Rick, they're pitting on a timeline. Right. And the reason they're doing that is he wants to come in, get through the first segment, gas it up, and jump in his pit box. He got caught in pit in the segment of 1, the first segment, which is the commitment line to basically the beginning of pit road. So that tells me that Martin Truex Jr. accelerated just a touch too early. Trying to jump into that pit box right down, 5, 8, 10 feet too early. If you're already right on the number, you accelerate. It's just time over distance. He didn't spend enough time in that first distance of the first timing segment.
Before this race started, we had a chance to talk to Eric Almirola. Let's go back and replay that because the confidence coming from Eric Almirola was awesome.
Puts a lot of pressure on every lap of the race, not just the race in general. Just, man, getting every point you can in every stage and doing all you can to keep your track position and run good laps. Just, it all counts. It all matters. We saw that last week. So really proud of the effort and the fight that we put in with the Smithfield team, and I feel like we've got a really good Ford Fusion for today. So it should be a fun day.
Well, I would say it has been fun for Eric Almirola and his team, and he talked about the points, how they matter. Well, guess how you get the most points, Steve? Run well in the stages and go win the race, and you're going to have a chance right here. Keselowski on 2 tires, you're on 4, about probably 54 to go, and he dropped the green flag. It's right there in front of you. Let's see if Eric Almirola and his team can go take it. Dave.
So far, everyone on the team has done their job well today. Johnny Klausmeyer, what does the driver need to do here in the final stage of the stage?
just keep doing what he's been doing, honestly. He's been doing a great job. We've had a good long run car, so I think we just do what we've been doing here and can hold our position on the restart. We'll be fine.
All right, they've had it going all day, Marty.
Hey, Dave, long stop for Joey Logano, and guess who found that axle that was sitting on the racetrack? It was a 22 car. He has a massive gash behind the right rear of the car, right rear tire of the car. You can see, we catch the very end of it there. He hits that axle, and then the damage happens right there. He comes into contact it off of the 15 car. They stayed on pit road, put Bear Bond on the right side. Again, about a 6-inch gash there. They were running in the top 6. Not a huge penalty, taking the time to get this repair right. They will restart 12th.
The real question you have is, you know, cautions normally breed more cautions as we bunch the field up, and these restarts with 55 to go, it's quite a tape jaw. That's not a small piece of thing. You know, now that the field's bunched up, the restarts here, we've only got to see a couple that at the start of each stage. Well, they can be so chaotic through 1 and 2, and you mentioned earlier today, even down into turn 3.
Joe Logano finished second in the first stage and fourth in stage 2, and he's gained 16 points already today, and that's important. That's if you're going to have an issue like this in the final stage of the race, it might determine losing a few spots in the final result. Gaining those stage points early in 1 and 2 is going to be beneficial to this team going forward.
So last week at the Roval, everything changed with a late restart. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, they all go down in there and have a big accident. Well, I bring that up because Dover, it's been known to have some issues on restart as well. 2016, this is the wreck that never stopped happening. Dale Jr., you, I think, were the last one to get damaged. We'll see as these cars, I mean, look, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, there's just no room. The racetrack is so narrow, and even when you think you're through it, you aren't.
Yeah, I thought I was through it on the outside. 13 came from the apron all the way up the racetrack into the left front fender.
To get
well,
you.
here it is,
yeah,
right
you see
here.
the 13 down there. He's full throttle all the way
You're
up the
like,
racetrack.
I got it. It's all good.
Yep, yeah, I'm clear.
No worries. Wait, what?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Like, lift.
Oh.
Dang.
But I'm hey,
and there he was.
But that's Dover, right? I mean, literally, you have to decide, am I still on the brakes? Am I gassing up to drive through this? There's just nowhere to go, Marty, when a car starts to spin.
Hey, Steve, I've never known Paul Wolf to make a gamble. Have you?
Oh,
it's a joke. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Yeah. Hey, how big of a gamble is it, though, with 2 tires here on what could be the final restart?
I don't think it's big. I mean, we've been in this situation in the spring. We got an idea what it's going to do. And, you know, the track position's so big today that getting that air and stuff. So if we can get the lead here and settle in for a few laps, I think we'll be all right.
Wave around cars going by.
You know, the work for it's been solid. We just haven't had winning speed, so there's not a lot of cars on a lead lap either, so if it doesn't pay off, we're not going to lose a whole lot, so felt like it's worth the gamble.
So knowing all the extra playoff points you have in the bank already, how much did that play into this decision?
That really wasn't part of it. I mean, we used some of those up today, just not, you know, being outside of the top 5 on those the end of the stages. We didn't get the points we needed, so it's really just basing off of history and how important track position is.
And for what it's worth, Rick, 2 tires in the spring worked very well here at Dover. We'll see what it does for Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski's going to choose the top, so he's going to be in that top line, and we've seen that not work all the time. I know you're sitting here, Rick, going, why did you choose the top?
Why would they do that? They should have watched the race yesterday.
Yep, he's on 2 tires, new tires on the bottom. It's really going to come down to the launch. Who can launch better? Can Brad get a good launch? And he's really good on restart. So I've got confidence that Brad knows what he's doing. But if Eric Almirola wants to win this race, it's going to have to happen right now. I'm worried that he can't pass Brad Keselowski in dirty air once they do get some laps down. So here we go.
Brad Keselowski dictates the lead as the race leader. Does he have enough as he goes into turn number 1? Has he cleared the 10 yet? Not yet. Eric Almirola fighting, though.
Here comes Eric. Eric comes back on the back straightaway. Down the back straightaway has a great run going into turn 3.
Keselowski will try to get his fender on that right rear quarter panel, pull the air off that 10 car. Eric Almirola is going to make this pass.
Eric
Unreal.
Almirola takes the lead back at Dover.
Nice and smooth now.
That's what he had to do.
Once again, the bottom prevails.
But Eric had to do that. I mean, if he allowed the 2 to beat him on that restart, I don't know if he could have got by him.
And
now for second place.
And also Clint Boyer, he gave up 3rd spot 41, Kurt Busch, he's got that third position.
Now
and
we'll
look
see
at that 9 car.
How aggressive will Kurt Busch be? Will he get right up to the back bumper of the 2 of Brad Keselowski, get him loose? Remember, he just took 2 right side tires, so definitely not the grip that everyone else has out here that changed 4 tires.
Great recovery for Chase Elliott in that 9 car, and he is putting pressure on Clint Boyer. We talked about Clint Boyer not having good takeoff speed. On top of that, they got a little bit of damage on the right side of the car. He says that's hurt the car's turn. Chase Elliott with a big move in the middle of the corner, used all the racetrack, left turn 4 on the bottom. Let's see if he keeps up that strategy. There he goes, right in the middle, Junior.
Yeah, he's going in high, and he's turning the car down low to get a straight run off the bottom and try to get in the throttle. Look at this battle for second, though. Brad Keselowski trying to hold off Kurt Busch going down into turn 3.
This time, Keselowski not able to do it. Looked like he was trying to get to the quarter panel of 41, but Kurt Busch moves up ahead of him. He'll take second now. He'll be chasing down his teammate, Eric Almirola.
And Rick, we don't want to sleep on that 4 of Kevin Harvick. He just passed the 88 for 10th. I'm not sure with 48 laps he can drive all the way to the 10, but he's close enough. One more yellow, they bunch up the field. Kevin Harvick right back in the race.
Absolutely. I think he's going to have a yellow or 2 to help him with that track position. You're not going to drive by all these competitive cars. These are playoff contenders. He's going to have to drive by. It's going to be hard to do.
Best of the best running up front. Top 5 all championship contenders in the playoffs. Almirola, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, and Chase Elliott.
Eric Almirola's come so close so many times this year. He knows 47 laps is an eternity. It's a long way before the end of this race. So much can still happen.
148 races since Eric's only win. Rain shortened race at Daytona, July 2014.
Another one of those statistics that you
He's
just
so
have floating
hungry.
around in your head up there.
He's so hungry. I mean, this is what we've been waiting on to see from Eric all season long.
And Junior, guess how many people picked him to fall out of the first round of the playoffs, right? The fantasy lineups, they had Almirola not even being here in contention, and now he could win the race.
Get quite aggressive. We just saw Alex Bowman get right up to the back bumper of Eric Jones, got him very loose. Now he's going to make the pass.
That was for 10th place.
As the laps wind down, the aggression builds.
Another great battle. Chase Elliott is all over Clint Boyer in the middle of the corner. He's got his front bumper all but touching him, trying to pull the air off of him every lap. Right here, he rolls the middle, gets right to him.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of contact.
He did. He gave it to him a little bit. Got him loose.
Here comes Denny Hamlin going to follow him.
Elliott, can he finish the pass?
Elliott kept doing that every lap, just rolling the middle of the corner so fast, getting to the 14's rear bumper. Finally, he was able to use it to make the pass.
Is Denny Hamlin going to do the same thing? He was right on the back bumper there. Look at this. This is how Elliott did it.
Man, Clint is struggling. He's struggling to hold off that 11 car. Look at him. He's got the 12 of Blaney coming up behind him to take another position.
You know Clint's exceptionally frustrated right now, in position to win this race earlier. A little bit of contact, and ever since he's not liked this car. He's going to have to be smart here, though. This is a long time to go. One of 3 races for this round of the playoffs. Have earned a lot of points. Don't give it away.
And the other driver driving with a little bit of passion through the field is Ryan Blaney. Little contact with Eric Jones on that restart. Blaney wasn't very happy about it. They also have damage on the right front, right in front of that right front tire on that 12 car.
41 laps to go here at Dover in the first race of the second round of the playoffs. Eric Almirola looking for his second career win as we go NASCAR nonstop. And make sure to stay with us after the race. Post-race coverage followed by #VictoryLap. That's all right here on NBCSN. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty to talk about. We've seen the aggression building, and now the 11 tucks back in behind the 14. Will he get to the back bumper? We've seen a few get to the back bumper, and then some guys not so happy.
Well, Marty told us on pit road that the 12 car had some right front damage. Well, here it is. He and Eric Jones racing, and contact right there. You see it bent that right front fender. I'm surprised he's running as well as he is, Steve. Still back up here battling, running in 7th spot.
Yeah, you'd think that damage on the right front would really hurt the front grip and the performance of that car, but he's hanging right in here with these guys. As Denny Hamlin's made it by the 14 of Clint Boyer.
Clint Boyer, who's 14 points above, now 13 points above the cut line. He's going to have to dig down and try to fend these guys off. We saw how much a point's worth last week. It might only seem like it's for the 6th position, but you have no idea where this point might matter in a couple weeks.
Well, next week, Talladega.
Yeah.
I mean, because next week at Talladega is really an unknown. Everybody comes into it. Joe Logano said, well, there's a 50% chance I can win the race, or there's a 50% chance I can wreck out of the race. Let's get an update and start with Dave.
And one of the better restrictor plate racers is right there. Eric Almirola would feel confident going into Talladega, but he'd rather wrap things up today here at Dover. Solid day so far. The team has been behind him, and right now the car is fast. 41 of Kurt Busch, his car not quite as fast on that last run. He said it was a little tight. I need a little magic here. I don't know if they got 4 specially matched tires on that last stop, but he's running well, Marty.
Good movie reference there, Dave. For Brad Keselowski, those 2 tires with Paul Wolf's call. Hanging in pretty good right now in the 3rd position. Honestly, better than they've run all day long. So it was a good call by Paul Wolf to get a little track position. All these teams dread Talladega, not the 2 team. He and his teammate Joey Logano, they've won 6 of the last 8 there, Dave.
After the uncontrolled tire penalty, whoa, slide there again for Chase Elliott. He has driven that 9 car back up toward the front. After that last run, he said I could use a little turn. They gave him that in the form of an air pressure adjustment, Kelly.
It's been a nice recovery for Denny Hamlin and this 11 team after they had to pit for a loose wheel. Dover is not one of Denny's favorite tracks. In fact, it might be the track he least looks forward to coming to, so if they can hang on for a top 5 finish, it might do wonders for his confidence at this track, Marty.
Clint Boyer and his team would love to have another shot at a restart, Kelly. The car just way too tight for Boyer, and for these guys, they feel like the rounds get better as they go throughout the playoffs, but they would love to go the next round with a win. That might not happen here at Dover today. Yeah, Ryan Blaney is driving with that damaged right front fender, driving a little determined as well, and the car right now for him has been tight since that contact earlier. Kelly?
Well, after going a lap down when they had that broken valve stone, Kevin Harvick has worked his way back up inside the top 10, certainly driving with some fire in his belly right now. He's been quiet on the radio as he continues to pick off the competition ahead of him one by one, Marty.
Got to give a tip of the cap to Alex Bowman. This team struggled, battling just to stay on the lead lap for much of the day, and here with 26 to go, they're in 9th. Bowman with the 4th fastest lap that last time. Car 2 free on entry, trying to work his way through the field with that 4 car. Joey Logano trying to recover from that damage when he hit the axle from the 15 car a little while ago. They've made a slow and steady recovery. They restarted 12th up to 10th so far for the 22 car.
Eric Jones and his 20 team started this race 16th in the points. When I talked to Chris Gale, the crew chief, he said, look, we are not a 16th place team. We have been running in the top 10 week in, week out. So their goal for the remainder of this season, now that they're out of the playoffs, is to get back to the top 10 in points. Right now, Eric having a solid day, running 11th. Behind him is the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., another playoff driver, trying to work his way back after he had that speeding penalty on pit road last time by. This is a team that didn't know what kind of race car they were going to have till lap 1, turn 1. They have been working on it ever since to try to get the handling for the 78 to make something happen, Dave.
A crash last week at the Roval eliminated Austin Dillon from the playoffs, but they are running well here today at Dover, and their goal again is the goal that they started the year with. They won at Daytona. They'd like to win again before the year's out, Marty.
Hey, Dave, when I talked to Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens before the race, they both told me if you look at the 10 playoff tracks, Dover, certainly in our top 4, we expect great things here. It's not been a great day for Kyle Busch right now in 14th, but he came in, Kelly, with all those bonus points right now, plus 41 above the cut line.
This teammate Daniel Suarez hasn't had a flashy day, but it's just been very solid. He's been able to remain on the lead lap for much of this one. This is one of his favorite racetracks. He's had some success here, and the team had some confidence coming in here. 6 to go for Daniel Suarez. Races, that is, in this 19 car, and they want to finish the season out on a good note. Rick?
Kelly, Marty, Dave, great job, you guys, giving us all that information on the lead lap cars. That's all the way through 15th. Eric Almirola out in front. Kurt Busch 1.6 seconds behind, 21 laps to go.
Chase Elliott putting the pressure on Brad Keselowski here for third place. This is a really critical position for Chase Elliott to be in. 8 points out of the playoffs right now to advance. Look at him getting loose right there. He's chasing the car up the racetrack, but he knows getting that position by Brad gives him that 1 point that he may need. Brad struggling off of turn 4. Whoa, Brad had a real big moment off of turn 4 and had to lift and gave the whole position up.
All these drivers are working exceptionally hard. Seems like every time we show the 9 car, he is sideways. But another guy that struggled all day working hard is Kyle Larson. This off turn 2 just a little while ago, drives into turn 1. Listen, you can hear the rear tires. How he saved that, I have no idea. Huge save by Kyle Larson.
He had the wheel turned so far to the right, it looked like he was taking a right turn out of the track.
And you can hear the rear tires squealing.
Whoa,
Boyer,
big move there for Boyer. He's got a flat tire.
He does, guys. He just told the guys a moment ago, I have a left rear, right rear. I don't know what it is, but I've got a flat tire. It was a fantastic day for Clint Boyer until this point. 16 stage points they gained. Looked like they were going to be in a position for a win, but with 18 to go, they're going to have to come to pit road under green with a flat tire.
And look at the points on the left side. +5 as he comes down pit road. +4, +3. You're watching it real time. The points are going to come out of the bucket of the 14 car.
Thinks it may be an issue with the track bar. Look at that right rear tire.
Track bar is broken.
He's got a mechanical failure.
Junior, you said it at the top of the show. A tough racetrack on equipment. We saw Jimmie Johnson not even make the green flag. Now the 14 of Clint Boyer, potentially a rear suspension issue.
That is huge.
What a huge day for Clint Boyer, and it's going to end poorly as he slides into his stall. The crew's going to take a look at what's going on.
Boyer just said on the radio, Rick, I don't think I can go anymore. If it's a broken track bar or something in the suspension, I can't go like that.
No, you won't be able to. You can't control the car. The back of the car is moving around. It's not secured. The rear end housing left to right. There'll be a lot of motion left to right. There's no way you could drive it.
I will say, as long as that tire changer was on the right rear, tightening the lug nuts up, it looked like he must have felt that the tire was loose because it will damage those threads, and you really take a long time. Take a replay here. We're going to show you the 14.
Woo! Yeah. I'm watching him come up off pit road and come back up to speed. He actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. That rear tire changer, he was on that right rear for a long time.
He knows. He knew how loose it was. He's the first guy to know, right? If they came right off easily, they were probably loose. Wise veteran move, taking his time to tighten that tire.
You're right, Steve. It was a loose wheel for the 14. They could not afford that. They had a rough day on pit road at the Roval. They couldn't afford mistakes on pit road today. They have one on the final stop.
And Kevin Harvick has moved up to 6th now after we see Clint Boyer falling out of the top 10 because of that issue.
And Rick, up front, Kurt Busch has run Eric Almirola down. He's only 0.8 of a second back. He was 1.5 seconds behind not long ago. Kurt Busch has a faster car right now than Eric Almirola, and Eric is stuck in traffic.
See with the points on the left there, what that did to Clint Boyer, the 14, now in 10th, -4 points out of the cutoff.
Kurt Busch told Eric that Kurt was running the bottom, and he was running better than you, so you saw the 10. Go to the bottom and try to make that work.
Yeah, he's about 0.5 second slower. Eric Almirola half a tenth slower rather than Kurt Busch right there. So Kurt's found some speed.
Almirola able to get by the 21 of Paul Menard. That was a good move to get by. Now Kurt Busch is going to have to do the same. Try to find a way to get by Paul Menard.
And drivers, how about Eric Almirola? We saw Chase Elliott lead the closing laps of the race here, only get run down by Kurt's brother Kyle Busch. Now Eric Almirola, only one career win, near misses this year. What is he thinking as his teammates trying to run him down with 11 to go?
And his teammates have all won. That's one of the things that weighs on Eric Almirola, knowing that with the other 3 guys that have already won a race, Now he wants to get his win.
This will be huge. Look in front of Eric Almirola. You see right behind Almirola, there's Kurt Busch running him down a little bit every lap. But in front of Eric, look at what is going on. 3 wide, 2 wide. Even as he closes in on him, that's going to hurt Eric's car. Going to take air off his car, slow him down. Can Kurt use this to his advantage?
Coming up on 9 laps to go at Dover. Almirola, look at the traffic in front of him.
Got to go low here under William Byron. Get by him pretty easily.
And Junior, that's what you want as a driver.
But this is the problem. Coming up off the corner, Jeff, he has to lift. He can't use all the throttle to get out up against the wall.
You want these guys, though, to just maintain their lane. They did. They maintained their lane.
But look how the 41's closed in here.
Cautions come out. There'll be a restart. The 14 into the wall hard.
Oh, that's going to be huge. Look, he was only minus 13. But this car is not going to finish the day. It's going to be costly for Clint Boyer. Another impact on the inside wall.
Tire come off some.
And a big hit also.
You see the wheel on the right front completely bent in. That's how hard he hit the wall.
Rick, Junior, we've all done this here.
Well, you see flames under the hood, too. The safety crew is going to get to him quickly. There's a fire suppression system that helps with this, but you see Clint climbing out of that car as quickly as he can as the flames start to roll from under the hood.
He couldn't get his helmet hose unplugged, so it was prohibiting him from getting out any quicker.
Glad to see him get out there. This is a place when you blow a right front tire with the speed and the banking that you are going to hit the wall a ton, Jeff.
Yeah, it's just big impacts.
Dave.
On pit road, Kurt Busch and leader Eric Almirola will lead the field down. Busch will try to pick up 1 spot on his teammate if his team can be more efficient and quicker than the 10 team. Here they go, 4 tires here, adjustment for Kurt for this last little final run. There's the 10 of Eric Almirola. His team has been quick and efficient all day. They have been perfect. Can they beat the 41 off of pit road as well? And will anyone else try a 2-tire stop to try to get that track position, Marty?
And Dave, Ryan Blaney coming in as well, trying to put on some tires here. It's interesting, the cars that stayed out. This is going to be a fun restart here, guys. Blaney leaving with those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. We'll see if these tires pay off for some of these guys, but a few guys staying out, Rick.
Yeah, and a couple guys, 2-tire stops there that came off of pit road. Guys like the 11 of Denny Hamlin. He made a gamble to get out in front of the 10 of Eric Almirola. Alex Bowman looked like he made the same gamble to try to stay in front of that 10 of Almirola. And let's take another look at why the caution is out now because of the 14. See him wide to the right of the screen.
Yeah, clearly a mechanical issue. We saw him on pit road earlier. We were speculating a little bit whether they had a loose right rear, what was going on, but they clearly had some kind of suspension issue going on.
Now this lineup has been turned upside down.
Oh, man. Guys taking 2-tire. I mean, this is what's been happening to Eric Almirola all year long. Looks like he's got a race in hand, and something like this happens now. He's got 2 guys in front of him.
They did a 4-tire stop for Almirola.
So here's where you currently stand. You have Chase Elliott, who pitted 341 for 4 tires. Brad Keselowski was 341 for 2 tires. So he has some older left side tires. Truex as well at lap 341 for 4 tires. Then behind them, Hamlin on rights, Bowman on rights. Almirola decided to take 4 tires. Will that 4 tires pay off? Another group of right side tires all the way down to Harvick, who's the next car on 4 tires. Dave.
Dale Jr. could not have expressed the sentiment of the 10 team any better, but listen what happens here. Crew chief a little upset, driver talks him off the ledge.
How many more times this year can this happen? That's tough. Fine, it's fine. We got a really good car, it takes off good, we just got to execute. We're fine.
We're fine.
Ooh.
They hope so.
Yeah, that's rare when the driver is a voice of reason, Steve.
Yeah.
And you two would know, I'm guessing. Whew. Well, Almirola, the last time they went by the start-finish line to reset everyone's position, Almirola was 6th. And that is counting Hamlin and Bowman, who beat Almirola off of pit road because of a 2-tire stop.
This is 5 laps to go right here. I don't like the position that Almirola's in.
Nope. I'm with you, Dale Jr. I do not like it. I mean, listen, I'm not judging the call. I didn't like the position he was in when the caution came out. He was in trouble at that point. You stay out, they all pit. You pit, they all stay out. You're kind of going to be doomed either way. But this restart right here.
Well, guys, what's so difficult, restarting on old tires is so difficult. Trying to get your rear tires hooked up.
Remember how this season started for Almirola. The heartbreak began right there in the first race.
9-car picked the top.
Again.
Yeah.
We got the leader control car in the top groove again.
You've got to launch, though, Junior. It's so hard, isn't it? I mean, that's the whole key right now is getting these old tires to not spin on this restart. And this racetrack, with the banked straightaways, I think that makes it worse trying to get those rear tires to hook.
Well, the freshest tires, Denny Hamlin, row 2, winless. Never been winless in his career. 12 straight years of winning a race. Currently winless in year 13.
4 laps, 4 miles to determine the winner at the Monster Mile.
It's a good restart by the 9. He's going to be clear.
Keselowski spun his tires. Watch what the 11 and the 10 do. To the top with the 10, 3 wide.
There they go. Here comes the 11 of Denny Hamlin. He brings the 10 of Eric Almirola. Almirola hit the wall. Into the wall, then into the 2. The 2 goes around. The caution's going to come out again.
Caution is out. Back down easy.
Alex Bowman collected at the 2-car Brad Keselowski sideways on the straightaway.
Eric Almirola just digging hard, trying to make something happen, trying to get that win.
Yeah, he run that high side, come off the corner, got a little close to the wall, came down off the wall into the 2. Look at the damage on the 10.
There's some damage. Yeah, there's definitely damage on the 10.
These are all playoff guys. I mean, we just saw.
Big damage.
Having a lap.
This is crazy how this is all playoff guys racing each other, wrecking each other, taking points.
It's going to go into overtime. We see the 88 has come up against the wall in the infield. Alex Bowman coming in.
Almirola, a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Both sides of the car has good damage on the 10.
And a red flag so that they can clean up the track, get to the drivers that were involved in this incident, especially Alex Bowman. Well, let's look at what happened to Almirola as he was coming off turn 2, got up into the wall, and then bouncing back off.
And he's just going as hard as he can. He knows he has to push, and you can see him, the car get out from under him, get in the fence, come down into the 2, trying to correct his car, back into the outside wall, hard with the right front. That's a tough hit for the 10 car. The 78.
That's big contact for the 78.
Yep. He clips.
How about Harvick?
How about the 4 of Harvick getting
18
by?
got by.
Tough deal for the 88 crew. They were kind of putting themselves in position for maybe a top 10 finish.
Fought hard all day long.
At other racetracks, I think more cars get by. There's more room to move around, but that's it, right? The 78, the 88, that's it. There's no more real estate. You can only go to the bottom of the concrete.
The monster.
I'm telling you.
Look at the 12.
Yeah, the 12 of Blaney.
Blaney.
That's
knocks
2 weeks
quarter
in a
panel
row.
off his car.
Look at that right there. You see that? The 10 car, that bump, Junior, off of 2. As soon as he rolled through that bump, that's what I think upset his car. Let's see if we can get another view of it. You know he's in the throttle, but watch the back of the car right there. The car bounces, runs through that bump, and he just lost control and just pushing. That's just going for the win, trying to get that win. Overstepped his bounds just a little bit. Took himself out and some others with him.
You're in the 2 only right now.
Man.
Stay with it if you can. Stay with it if you can. And caution, 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 caution. Try to keep your speed up if you can. They're wrecking behind you.
Wow, that's violent.
Watch Kevin Harvick get through this.
Easy, 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 easy. Right in front of you, right in front of you, right in front of you.
Look at his eyes.
Watch your, You're good.
Anybody would have looked like that going through there.
I don't know. I think mine would have been closed. I would have been no good. Mine would have been closed.
Yeah, Blaney in the wall. Yep. Go back to last week. Blaney was in that wreck, that big wreck on that that last restart. He was in that wreck and still ended up winning the race.
You know who this has to be looking at this and feeling a sense of relief? Maybe Clint Boyer.
Yes.
Clint taken out of this race because of the issues they had getting in the fence, but now some more contenders are going to have a bad day today, and that keeps them in the battle.
Is there irony in the fact that Miles the Monster, the giant Miles the Monster, has the 10 car in its hand? Like, Eric, you thought you were going to win this race, but remember, this racetrack is extremely tough. Now the red flag has come out. It will be overtime. So all the drivers will have to sit and wait until the racetrack is clean, and then the ones with damage will come to pit road to see if they can repair that before the green flag. Marty?
Well, Clint Bowyer out of the infield care center, and a frustrating end to a day when it looked like you might have a shot at the win. Any idea what happened on the last incident?
Well, I guess we had another loose wheel. I mean, this sucks. I'm so sick for Eric. It was his race to win. Kelly had one in New Hampshire, and we had trouble, broke something, and go back out there. And I don't know. We were something in the rear end. The left rear, right rear was loose. I thought it was a track bar. It was so bad. Go back out there, and it's fine. So I take back off, and then something in the front brakes. So I don't know. It was two different instances, whatever we were having trouble with. Newman, he was still pissed from last week, I guess, and had to be Newman. And tore my right side up. I don't know if it was damaged from that or not. From then on, it wasn't very good, but it's a shame.
A frustrating end for Clint Bowyer, who again looked like he might have a shot at the win. But, you know, interesting, he feels bad for his teammate Dave because they had the similar situation happen at July in New Hampshire.
Now, Marty, you can certainly understand that. For the 9 team, it's been a little bit of a flip in the right direction, Alan. After a long day so far, how much does the driver have left, do you think, for the field behind him?
Yeah, I mean, the Napa Chevy's been good all day, so we just had to kind of claw back from that pit road penalty and get our track position back, and we'll see. We'll see what we got. It's I don't even know who's going to be behind us now. It's all re-racked, but we'll see what we got, and I think hopefully we got enough.
They hope so, Kel.
All right, well, we saw in those replays the 4 of Kevin Harvick just threading the needle to get through that wreck unscathed. He immediately gave credit to his spotter, Tim Fidoa, who said, no, man, that was all you. Now as they sit here under this red flag, he's parked behind the 12 of Ryan Blaney, a Ford teammate, of course, and they've been asking him to help assess the damage on the 12, and he said it is really bent in on the rear end of that 12, but he can't tell if it's going to cause a tire rub.
So when this gets ready to restart, it will be a shootout. And Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin are going to line up on the front row.
And Rick,
if you remember back to Martinsville a year ago, there was a little bit of, and they're rolling now, so it's back to yellow. But if you'll remember back to Martinsville, this was 2017. Hamlin into the back of the 24. Chase Elliott thought he was going to win that race. And Denny Hamlin had, well, some other ideas. That changed the attitude right there of Chase Elliott. And then Phoenix, toward the end of the season last year, into the wall goes the 11. 24 able to get by, and later the 11 wrecks out of the race, knowing that that was the way the 24 was going to race him.
And Rick, think about this. Chase Elliott came in 5 points below the cut line. There's nothing better than winning a race in a round. That guaranteed move forward, that guaranteed berth in the round of 8. Well, Denny Hamlin, he's eliminated from the playoffs. But he's winless. And arguably, what has he said? We heard a reporter from the pit reporters at the track he looks forward to coming to the least. What would a career win at Dover mean? What would a win in 2018 mean to continue this winless streak? We talk about it with Jimmie Johnson. This is over a decade's worth of work, 12 years that could go away without a win. I know Martinsville's coming, but he's on the front row. He has 50-lap newer right side tires. It's going to be interesting to see how much they lean on each other.
And how aggressive does the 11 get, or how aggressive does the 9 get? And we'll go all the way back to what lane does Chase Elliott choose for the restart? Will he choose that high line, or will he choose the inside line?
Did you see Kyle Larson just pass all those guys? So Kyle Larson was the free pass on that caution. So if we got another caution, Kyle Larson could be in position to start picking up some spots. There's only 12 cars in the lead lap.
10 cars are going to have to come to pit road, fix this right front. He's obviously got a right front tire flat. Dave.
Yeah, they were talking about staying out, but then he reported that he's scraping the splitter on the ground, and he said to go straight, I've got the wheel turned all the way to the right. I'm not sure they could survive a green-white checker with that.
Yeah, that's either, obviously that right front contact with the wall, it's been something in his right front suspension, just knocked a toe out, and he's got a flat tire. I mean, he's got all kinds of issues, but they're going to come down pit road. The 78's on pit road as well to work on their damage.
So you guys talked about the front row. I want to go to the second row. Here's Joey Logano. Look at the damage on his car. He's trying to make the next round of playoffs. A win would be huge. Eric Jones behind them. Eric Jones is a guy that he and his team had the speed to be in this round of the playoffs. They didn't have the finishes, but they had the speed. How do you overcome that disappointment? You go win races during the playoffs. Eric Jones will be starting on the outside. I'd look for him to be very aggressive as well.
Let's listen into Joey Logano's radio.
Yeah, big picture, I want to win, but we need to finish. I'd rather us than the 11, but we don't need to take ourselves and the 11 out of it.
Better us than the 11.
Yeah, you got to race for yourself. Try to go out there and do what you can for you and your team. They all work real hard to get you here, get your car here, get it ready, get it to this point with a chance at victory.
And a reminder of overtime. When the green flag comes out, race leader has to make it all the way back around to the finish line to get the white flag. If the race leader doesn't do that, they'll reset, try again. And again after the race. Post-race coverage followed by #VictoryLap right here on NBCSN. Make sure to stay with us. Marty?
Well, Rick, Alex Bowman could not have played things any better today. They struggled all afternoon long, made their way into the top 10 at the end of the race. What was your view of that incident?
I didn't really see what happened. Just the two was sideways in front of me, and I thought he was going to slide down the track quicker than I did. I should have gone low, and he just took longer to. Dover's typically really self-cleaning, and it cleans itself in a hurry, and I thought he was going to get chucked back to the inside pretty quick, and he didn't, and I just center punched him. So my mistake, really nowhere to go there. I guess either way I go, I'm probably getting hit, but part of it, you know, it's part of this racetrack. We overcame a lot today. Greg and the guys got the Exalta 88 Hendrick Motorsports Camaro way better. You know, we were probably going to come away with a 5th to 7th place finish there at the very least, and just it's a bummer it all ended up this way.
It was a terrific rally for the 88 team, and Rick, that is why they call this place the Monster Mile.
It's been brutal, hasn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it has been. I love Alex Bowman, you know, saying maybe he could have done something different there, but Alex, you probably couldn't. I mean, when you go back and watch that, I really don't think Alex Bowman had any choices to make. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Think about the guys that were having great days, and you look at the points. The 14, Clint Boyer, he was having a great day. Now he's 11 points below the cutoff line. The 10 of Eric Almirola was in position to win the race if the caution doesn't come out. He's 12 points below. The 42 of Kyle Larson, before the race even started, he was expected to be one contending for the win. Now he's 19 points below the cutoff. And of course, Alex Bowman having a great run. We just heard from him there, but a huge hole that he's going to have to dig out of when they go to Talladega next week.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, a car that was 9th in the point standings when this race started, is sitting in a position to lock himself into the next round with a win here if he can hold on to this lead.
Guys, Chase Elliott chooses the top, Denny Hamlin on the bottom. Denny Hamlin has 50 lap fresher right side tires, 50 laps.
Well, remember, Chase Elliott last came to pit road on lap 341, so there's about 60 laps of racing and running around this track that he has on those tires. The guy with the freshest tires behind him, Joey Logano, he's got 2 fresh tires. Eric Jones, 2 fresh tires. Kurt Busch, 2 fresh tires. And Austin Dillon, 4 fresh tires.
I think if the 9 clears the 11 before turn 1, he's got a shot. If the 11's still on its door going to turn 1, it's going to be tough for the 9 to win this race.
Will the decision to go to the outside line on the restart workout? Overtime, presented by Credit One Bank, underway.
Aaron Jones pushing.
Yeah. The 11's getting a push too by the 22.
The 9 trying to forge ahead. The 11 staying tough.
Chase is clear.
Elliott has the lead.
Great job by Chase Elliott. Great job.
Take a drive around you.
Side by side for 3rd. Logano and Eric Jones continue to fight for that spot. Chase Elliott looking for the white flag. One more time around at Dover.
Lock that thing on the bottom.
A hungry Denny Hamlin in the 11. He'll have one more shot. Down the backstretch. Can he close the gap enough? Chase Elliott looking for his 2nd career win.
3.5.
Out of turn 4. Chase Elliott's going to win at the Monster Mile.
Hell yeah, baby. One more round to go. That's what I was talking about. That's how you do it, boys, right there.
You saw a smiling
I'm so proud of you.
Rick Hendrick a smiling Jeff Gordon. And I'm sure the smile is going to be very large.
Hell of a job. Way to not give up today.
Chase Elliott.
Your burnout.
And by the way,
plenty of gas in it. I want to see a burnout.
if you're back in Dawsonville near the pool room, listen for the siren. This moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. Chase Elliott wins in the Monster Energy Cup Series playoffs. And a win means you're on to the next round. He's on top of the car.
He's pumped up, man. It's a big, big win for these guys.
And remember Chase Elliott a year ago, 2 years ago. Chase Elliott always so hard on himself because of restarts. He lost a couple races because he didn't have good restarts. Well, today he has a great restart. Marty.
And shaking his head almost in disbelief of what's happened today. This team persevering an uncontrolled tire early on. Car's not in gear. We need to get that under control. The team kind of pushing it back up here, but all the team out here to give him a high five. All the fans coming to the fence to congratulate Chase Elliott, who looks like he can't believe it. You told the guys, thanks for not giving up all day long. How much of this win was about perseverance from the 9 team today?
A lot, man. We had a penalty there early, and yeah, fell behind, and luckily had a good enough car and a good strategy to get back. So, man, what a day. Just thanks to those guys, man, and that man right there in that white shirt coming over here, because he has done so much for me, and wish my mom and dad were here. But man, it's been a hell of a day. Thank you guys. Y'all are badass. I love it.
The man in the white shirt, of course, Rick Hendrick. How about the redemption here at Dover? Last year, you thought you had this race won with a couple laps to go. A little redemption today?
Definitely makes it sweeter, for sure. You don't appreciate it in those moments, but to come back here and have the day we had and move on to the next round, not have to worry about Talladega next week, man, it's a hell of a day, so thank you.
All right, his emoji on the side of the car, Rick, says dig. That's what this 9 team did all day long. They make their way to victory lane. And a hug for the man in the white shirt. That, of course, Mr. H, Mr. Rick Hendrick.
You just heard Jeff Gordon. How awesome that is to be here to watch that. And a big hug from Mr. H. That's 2 wins in 2018 for Chase Elliott. And one of his good friends, Bubba Wallace, coming over, congratulating him. I'm sure Ryan Blaney will be nearby. Also congratulating Chase Elliott. Now, the fans appreciative of the performance that they just saw as Chase Elliott grabs the checkered flag. A hard-fought win. You see it. Chase getting directions how to get back to victory lane. That's where he's headed. It was an overtime win that locks him in to the 3rd round of the playoffs. Now, Chase Elliott can sleep a little easier this week coming up with Talladega on the horizon, because he's on his way with a shot at a championship in 2018. Chase Elliott wins at Dover.
that.
And a reminder, NASCAR America post-race show will be coming up next. And hashtag Victory Lap will be following as well. Make sure to send in your questions using hashtag Victory Lap. You want to be a part of that post-race coverage as a ride being made by the 9 of Chase Elliott. And let's take a look at the playoffs leaderboard now. After the first race of the round of 12, the second round in the playoffs, Chase Elliott, yep, his name is in yellow, and that's because he has solidified a place in the third round, the round of 8. And Junior, you mentioned earlier how difficult it was because you're going up against the best. How do you become one of those 8 that make it into that round of 8?
Well, the best way to do it is win the race. That's what Chase Elliott did. He came into this race not in the top 8, just outside 9th place, and came out here with a win. They had a great car, overcame misfortunes of others to take advantage of that, and got guys that are now really worried. He don't have to worry about Dega. That's the best thing for Chase Elliott. It's going into Dega. He doesn't have to be too worried about that.
And you got to remember, he rebounded from a speeding penalty in this race to be able to battle back and get this win, his second career win. Now let's go to Victory Lane and Dave.
Here he comes at the Monster Mile. The monster today was Chase Elliott. Oh, hey, thanks a lot. I caught that one. Actually, it tastes kind of good in Victory Lane that way. So you and I take a ride around the track this morning. You seem kind of down. Say the car isn't going to be any good. Where'd all that speed come from?
Yeah, just perseverance and just some good adjustments, I think, throughout the day. It was just a great effort. Appreciate everybody at all of our partners, Napa, Valvoline, Hooters, Sun Energy One, Chevrolet, Mountain Dew, Kelly Blue Book. It's been a, man, we've had an up and down year, I feel like, and to have this race slip away last year makes today that much more sweet. So wish Mom and Dad were here, but we'll move on next week and don't have to worry about Talladega, so that's nice.
Alan makes the call to leave you out on old tires. What are you thinking then?
Well, I feel like I've messed it up so many times. I was like, man, here's your opportunity to make it right and to do it right. I don't know, you know, today just felt different. Like in those positions, I just felt more confident and you know, just felt excited about the opportunity instead of, you know, unsure of what was going to happen. So just amazing and just love the opportunity that Mr. Hendrick has given me, and glad he was able to be here today for our second win of the year, and on we go.
It's a family affair down here in Victory Lane. Describe when you see the faces that have come to congratulate you here. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, you know, because I feel like we've had a lot of ups and downs, like I said, and for us to be kind of on the down for a while, you know, it just makes everybody appreciate it that much more. I know it doesn't feel like that when you're struggling those days, but when you do have a day like today or a day like Watkins Glen, it makes you appreciate it more, and you wouldn't have if you just had the success without the rough days. So yeah, lessons learned the hard way, but we'll move on.
Win number 2 of 2018 and very significant moving on in the playoffs.
Yeah, he referenced Hall of Famer Dad Bill, not here, or Cindy Mom, but I'm sure that they're going to be celebrating with this win with him in a little bit. The guy who finished second, Denny Hamlin, I'm sure not too happy. Let's hear from him. Just moments ago, Kelly caught up with him.
Runner-up finish today for Denny Hamlin. Denny, you had two fresher tires anyway, and did you think when the 9 chose the outside on that restart you were going to have his number?
I didn't think so. I mean, the outside line was the preferred group for the restart guys all day, but I mean, we ran a 23.70 on that last lap. He is 23.60 on that older tires. That's amazing. You know, I ran as hard as I could through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Just couldn't get beside him there, but proud of the whole FedEx team. Definitely, you know, step in the right direction. We chipped away at it all day long, kept moving up through the field, and you know, got here. You know, this is kind of where we deserved. So proud of this finish, and you know, we'll move on to the next race.
Your crew chief Mike Wheeler told me today that he thinks you probably hate this track coming and racing here. How do you feel about it after a finish like that?
I don't hate the racetrack. I think the venue is awesome. It's a great place to watch the race. I just have not had very good success here, but glad to see me and Chase can finish 1-2 here in a playoff race and not have any controversy. So happy for those guys.
Great job.
a smile and not having any controversy. Well, remember the bad blood that I spoke about before. The 9 of Chase Elliott and the 11, Denny Hamlin racing tough, and it ends up where Chase Elliott gets the win. And so with this win, Chase Elliott secures his spot in the round of 8. But Junior, a lot of guys struggled and now have put themselves in a very tough position as we look forward to Talladega, which is coming up next week.
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel bad for Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, guys that were running up front all day long with a great opportunity to put themselves in a real good situation going into Dega. And now they go into Dega behind and in real trouble. The 88 of Alex Bowman all but eliminated himself without being able to, unless he goes and wins the race. So it's interesting. These third stages all year long have just been full of drama. And you look at the race, and we were just watching a race where Kevin Harvick was in control,
dominant.
Yeah, it looked like nobody was going to touch him, and I don't even remember that race anymore. I mean, what we
well,
saw.
Then Eric Almirola looked as though it was
what
in
we
his
saw
hands.
in this third stage was just so dramatic and so unusual compared to the first half of the race, and I think we're going to see the exact same thing next week at Dega. And I can't wait to get there. Can't wait to broadcast that race and talk about the draft and all those things. But just tremendous action in this final stage today. Congratulations to Chase and those guys for being able to capitalize and, get their ticket to the next round.
That's right. So remember, Talladega, Kansas, still 2 more opportunities. Let's bring in Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton. Guys, what a thrilling race and what an amazing finish.
Well, definitely a tale of 2 races. As Dale mentioned, Harvick dominates. We get into that final stage, kind of turns into a bit of chaos. And right here where it's end up, Almirola, Boyer, Larson, Bowman all below the cut line. And when you literally look at kind of how their performance was all day, I mean, it really comes down to Clint Boyer. Those stage points saved him, scored those 16 stage points. Kyle Larson and Bowman never really could do anything to score those stage points, but at double digits for all of them, they got a tall task heading to Talladega.
A lot of disappointment for Almirola, Boyer, and Bowman, but I got to tell you, Kyle Larson, they just didn't run well. They just ran bad, but they found a way to claw out a 12th place finish. That could be huge. Now they're only 10 points back. They were looking like they had a ton of ground to make up, but all those problems late in the race and them finding a way to finish 12th, that could be a really, really important 12th place finish as this winds on.
Yeah, I mean, 12 points seems like a lot, but really in my mind, only Alex Bowman at 34 out. He's really the one that's in the most trouble. He probably is looking for a win. I think the other guys can still point their way in. Dave?
Well, Steve, no one was handing Eric Almirola the trophy, but the closing laps, were you thinking this is finally over and we can finally get to victory lane?
I thought so. I know better to not get too far ahead of myself and to just race the race and take it as it comes. And we were obviously in really good position there to win the race. I was really taking it easy. I know Kurt started making a little ground there, and I was just really taking it easy on my tires and making sure that I had something to race with if he got any closer. But I felt really good about the position we were in, coming to 10 to go, leading and with about a half a straightaway lead to Kurt. And just circumstances didn't go our way, and just frustrated. I wanted to go to victory lane, man. I thought for sure we were going to go to victory lane here. This is a really great track for me, and obviously all of our Stewart-Haas racing cars were really fast, so everybody back at the shop's doing a great job giving us fast race cars to show up to the track. And when Kevin had his misfortune, I thought that kind of put it in our lap to be the car to beat, and just didn't work out. So just frustrated. Wanted to put our Smithfield Ford Fusion in victory lane, and unfortunately that didn't work out. So I hate that we tore up a bunch of cars on the back straightaway. I got tight there off of 2 and didn't really want to check up. I was going for it. You don't get an opportunity to win races every day, and so I was going for it, and I got just a little too tight on the exit and got in the fence, and then came down and got Brad and collected a lot of cars. So sorry about that, but damn, I thought we were going to win today.
You talked Johnny off the ledge before that final restart, right? Because you thought you had a good race car. What did you think, though, when you were kind of back? I think you were the outside of row number 3 there, Eric, because that was obviously not ideal.
Yeah, I knew that was, a little bit more of a challenge. I thought if we come off pit road in the second row, it's a whole different story. With 4 tires, you can, you've got just a row of cars ahead of you to deal with, and I thought that would have gave us a really good opportunity. But coming off pit road 6 with 2 rows of cars in front of you and just a couple laps is so challenging. That's why I tried all I could to get it done in that first corner to set me up for the next lap and a half to put myself in position to go chase down the leaders. And I hate that it didn't work out. Our guys deserve to be in victory lane, and we've had a few opportunities this year to do it and just can't seem to close the deal. So we got to figure that part out.
He showed what the 10 car had, almost had it done today at the Monster.
And that right there is proof every lap matters. Aric Almirola fighting for a win, doesn't get it. But in overtime, it's Chase Elliott who wins at the Monster Mile. Now let's go to NASCAR America post-race show with Krista, Kyle, and DJ.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.